Brad Lander, the city's comptroller, was arrested by immigration agents after a court hearing while linking himself arm in arm with someone they were trying to arrest, demanding that he see their warrant.
We are normalizing family separation. We are normalizing due process rights violations. We are normalizing the destruction of constitutional democracy, and we're not going to stand by and let it happen.
Lander was released, is not facing charges right now. It comes weeks after a Democratic Congresswoman, LaMonica McIver, was arrested and charged after getting into a physical confrontation with federal agents at a detention center in New Jersey. Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin tells Fox.
These guys want their 15 minutes of fame, and they want to do it off the backs of our ICE law enforcement officers, and we won't stand for it in this administration. Our law enforcement officers, their safety comes first, and so does the American citizens as well.
The Fed will assess the economy again this morning and then later today, a decision on interest rates. It's widely expected Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell will not make a change amid concern about the effect of U.S. tariffs on some imports. President Trump's been critical of Powell not cutting rates. He's been calling for a full point reduction. On Wall Street, ahead of that afternoon decision, stock futures are rising the day after a sell-off. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Attention all listeners, financial planners, CPA, and divorce attorneys. In 2021, there were over 420,000 licensed loan originators. Today, that number is down to 93,000. That's a reduction of over 75% of licensed loan officers within the past 4 years. If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender who's still in business. While mortgage companies have been closing and hundreds of thousands of loan officers have left the business since 2021, Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever and would love to earn your business. Let's review. Hundreds of mortgage companies have closed down and over 327,000 loan officers exited the mortgage business, while Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever. If you'd like to work with experienced mortgage professionals who'll appreciate your business, call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Sponsored by AxeCap Ventures. America, listen up. Gold prices are breaking records. With inflation raging and central banks hoarding, every American should own gold. And like President Trump said, whoever holds the gold makes the rules. AxeCap Ventures owns one of Nevada's largest undeveloped gold deposits and trades for pennies on the dollar. This could be your way to ride the gold boom. AxeCap trades under GARLF on the OTC. Visit axecapventures.ca today.
Can you afford not to have effective video surveillance? Is your outdoor inventory at risk? Theft and vandalism can hit your bottom line hard. Stop these events before they happen. Monitor your business 24/7 with alarm detection systems. We prevent crime with live operators watching video alerts, ensuring your assets and employees are secure. It's not worth the liability when you can effectively protect what matters most. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143. Spending too much on security guards to patrol your property? With rising crime rates, guards may not be enough. And the cost, it's adding up fast. At Alarm Detection Systems, we offer a more innovative solution. Live video monitoring. Cameras provide extra coverage in even the hardest to reach areas. Unlike guards, they never get intimidated. Our operators watch video alerts in real time, cut costs, increase coverage, and stay secure. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143.
FestGen Wealth Partners knows you're feeling the pinch of rising cost of living, and you are not alone. Potentially maximize your savings and get the guidance you need through times of uncertainty with the team at FestGen Wealth Partners. Get started at GetRetiredStayRetired.com.
Advisory services offered through FestGen Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Private Client Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Private Client Services and FestGen Advisors, LLC are unaffiliated entities. Any information discussed does not constitute investment advice. FestGen Advisors and Private Client Services do not offer tax legal advice.
Hey, heard you're getting ready to move.
We just listed our house on the market.
Just make sure you have the right attorney.
Doesn't the real estate agent take care of all that?
They stay involved, but you want to make sure you have a great lawyer that's negotiating the terms, helping resolve inspection items, clearing up title issues, preparing the deed and other documents, and attending the closing.
The attorneys at Nauman & Associates in Elk Grove Village have decades of experience handling real estate transactions every day all over Chicagoland. NALawGroup.com.
Mike Gallagher sees the blame game again.
I mean, in California, every California crisis is blamed on Trump. The wildfires, Trump's fault. The empty, water reservoirs, Trump's fault. Budget deficit, his fault. And now the riots in L.A., his fault. What does Gavin Newsom take responsibility for?
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Charlie Kirk at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's June 18th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Splurge Day. Go ahead and treat yourself to something magnificent. You deserve it. Also on this day in 1983, Sally Ride becomes the first American woman in space.
Of STS-7 and America's first woman astronaut.
Ride serving as a mission specialist on the Shuttle Challenger. President Jimmy Carter and Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev signed the SALT II nuclear treaty in 1979. The deal provided for limitations and guidelines for nuclear weapons, but it never formally went into effect. In 2000, Tiger Woods, with a record-setting victory to capture his first U.S. Open championship, his 15-shot victory at Pebble Beach breaks old Tom Morris's record for the largest margin of victory in a major championship of 13 strokes, which had stood since 1862. Born on this day in 1942, Paul McCartney of Beatles fame. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
At QC Kinetics, we're all about keeping you in the game, helping you get lasting relief from joint pain. That's why we're excited to announce that QC Kinetics is now partnering with the National Pickleball League. So many of our satisfied patients are avid pickleball players, and they're thrilled with how we've helped them get back on the court. As lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League, we're committed to help pickleball fans of all ages with the latest, most advanced regenerative cell treatments. These treatments use your body's own healing power, revitalizing and restoring damaged joint tissue the natural way, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Whether you're a pickleball fanatic or enjoy golf or running or tennis, stay in the game with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, proud to promote active, pain-free living as a lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
This podcast, Alex Marlow, brings deep research, prescient analysis, and world-class guests.
Biden was deteriorating. He was of decreased mental function. He did have major physical damage, but not necessarily the stuff that's being focused on at the moment. What's most relevant is the dementia and the brain aneurysm stuff that no one is talking about, and no one is answering that question, how much that has had an effect on his life.
Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
For months, you've been hearing ads about Virago Immune Support. I have to tell you, this stuff is for real. I had an occasion to not be feeling well on a remote broadcast. I took it, and it is the real deal. And the stronger your immune system, the stronger your body defends against diseases, viruses, and everything else. That's why Dr. Huber created Virago, a liquid immune booster supplement. You take it daily. It's a blend of 23 nutraceuticals working in synergy to maximize effects and boost your immune system. It's the nutraceutical cocktail for an immune system, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. Virago even protects your heart, your kidneys, your liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Do yourself and your spouse a favor. Order a bottle of Virago today online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gave Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
This is a special alert during this window replacement season. Don't get tricked by the cheapest offers and gimmicky ads. Now's the time to see and feel the difference of high-performance windows from Valdecas.
When it's time to consider new windows, siding, and doors for your home, you need to look no further. Sebastian Gorka here to tell you about Valdecas. Valdecas has been the trusted name chosen by thousands of homeowners, and they should be your number one choice too. But what's really behind the name Valdecas? Over 25 years of a team dedicated to providing you with the best customer service experience and products that truly bring value to your home. They are a Pella Platinum Elite Status certified contractor for a reason. They have an A+ rating with the BBB, as well as high ratings and positive reviews on both Google and Houzz. Schedule your free in-house consultation at valdecas.com.
Ask about their exclusive manufacturer warranties and their 10-year workmanship guarantee.
Don't wait. Book today at valdecas.com. For the best in class, it's Valdecas.
For centuries, gold and silver have protected wealth through war, recession, inflation, and economic upheaval. And today, as markets remain volatile and uncertainty grows, gold and silver continue to serve as an essential building block for modern retirement portfolios, offering both stability and long-term potential. At Advantage Gold, we specialize in helping you move your IRA or eligible 401k into physical gold or silver, tax-free and penalty-free. When you call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000, you'll receive expert insights, real-time market analysis, and modern investment strategies. Everything you need to make informed decisions about your financial future. And right now, for a limited time, you could receive up to $10,000 in precious metals when you open your qualified gold IRA with Advantage Gold. So don't wait for the next market downturn. Take control of your retirement strategy today with the proven power of physical gold and silver. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial and tax professionals before making investment decisions. Visit AdvantageGold.com or call 800-900-8000.
I'm worried about Mom. She's having a tough time moving around the house.
Oh, I know. She still thinks she can do everything on her own.
Exactly, but I've been over there every day this week, helping her navigate the stairs, cooking meals, reminding her to take her medicine. I'm always nervous when I leave.
You know what? I admire you for taking care of Mom. But your family needs you too. And what if she slips and falls? A friend recommended the caregivers at Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. They service Cook, DuPage, Kane, and Will counties. They guarantee compatibility and they'll conduct a free safety assessment of her home. Plus, they'll provide as little or as much care as Mom needs.
Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest, offering both hourly and live-in care. Schedule a free assessment today by calling 331-281-0728. That's 331-281-0728. Again, that's 331-281-0728. And tell them AM 560 sent you. Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. Senior care, only better.
Your business is under attack 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a fact. Small businesses are the low-hanging fruit. You may think you're protected, but you're vulnerable in many ways, and cyber attackers actively prey on small businesses. But Turnkey can protect you. Turnkey is the key to cyber protection. Turnkey has a quick and efficient 12-point evaluation to determine if your business, your profits, are at risk. And right now, for a limited time, Turnkey is offering the first month of service to all new customers free. Peace of mind, free. It includes all Microsoft licensing, antivirus, anti-malware, and completed data backup both on-site and off-site, plus help desk support. Don't leave you, your employees, and your customers vulnerable. Talk to Turnkey. Visit turnkey.pro. 3 decades of experience. That's turnkey.pro. Turnkey, the champion of small business.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
Perhaps you're a collector, or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions. With their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions, they have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Are you looking for a peaceful and enduring resting place for yourself or a loved one? Discover Fairview Memorial Park in North Lake, Illinois, a tranquil haven where your family's legacy can be honored for generations. We're excited to announce the upcoming completion of our beautiful new garden mausoleum opening this spring, offering both above-ground burial and cremation options. This serene space is surrounded by meticulously maintained landscaping and beautiful trees. With limited space available in our mausoleum, now's the time to plan ahead. Reserve your family's place today with prices starting around $7,000. And for a limited time, take advantage of a $500 discount when you pre-purchase a crypt. To learn more or secure your spot, visit fairview-memorialpark.com. That's fairview-memorialpark.com. Or stop by Fairview Memorial Park at 900 North Wolf Road in North Lake. Fairview Memorial Park. Peacefully beautiful.
As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Mike created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Mike is offering the best deal on his Giza Dreams bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $49.98. That's right, you can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $49.98. Order now because when they're gone, they're gone. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts. Call 800-489-0201. Use promo code LIBERTY or go to mypillow.com. Make sure you use the promo code LIBERTY for the amazing offer of $49.98 on the Giza Dreams sheets, any size and any color. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
It's hard to find a nursing home where Christ-centered care is provided. For over 130 years, Lutheran Life has served the needs of seniors at the Lutheran Home in Arlington Heights. With chaplains on full-time duty, the Lutheran Home provides spiritual support as your loved ones confront the hard realities of aging. Our nurses will care for your bodies, and our chaplains will care for your souls. Find out how by visiting LutheranLifeCommunities.org today. That's LutheranLifeCommunities.org.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. Those of us who have supported Donald Trump since 2015 need no lecture that Trump is abandoning his America First base when he stands by our nation's greatest ally. It's not we, Trump, or America who have loyalty problems. We never called Donald Trump demonic or said we hated him passionately. Neither Israel nor America is starting a war with Iran. Iran has been at war with both for 46 years. Today's Iran announced itself to the world by taking 52 Americans hostage for 444 days, then slaughtering 17 Americans in Beirut, and another 241 Americans there 6 months later. Then there was the capture, torture, and killing of William Buckley, the hijacking of Flight 847 and public execution of Bobby Stetham, the 19 Americans killed in Khobar, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and more. Truth in advertising has no greater model than the chant, "Death to America." Now, contemplate that country with nuclear weapons. Ignoring that and abandoning an ally equally targeted by Iran is the opposite of America First. It could mean America dead.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Clouds a bit cooler, still humid though. Heavy thunderstorm this afternoon. That could kick off an isolated tornado, high 77. Breezy this evening, otherwise partly cloudy. Shower and thunderstorm tonight, low 64. Partly sunny tomorrow, the high 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Real Story with Jeannie Ives, powered by Breakthrough Ideas. Sunday evening at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. BLM Brandon continues to be an effective spokesman for border security. And the way that he is by talking about open borders. He undermines whatever position he takes on whatever issue. And he did so again yesterday on CNN. So, I mean, in a sense, he is very helpful. I'd like to hear more from him. On CNN, responding to the news of the forthcoming ICE enforcement actions in Chicago and other big cities, a priority that President Trump has sent down the food chain. BLM, he gave, this, you sort of open with your statement of principle when it comes to illegal immigration.
Well, we are addressing those pressing needs. And the reason why we responded to this global crisis of the migrant mission was because the federal government failed to do its part. Governor Abbott spent over $220 million to ship people across America. Instead of working with Congress to actually pass substantive immigration reform policy, they wanted to create division. But we're not going to allow that to happen in the city of Chicago. Much like we fought for civil rights 60 years ago, we're going to continue to make sure that whether you are black, brown, Asian, white, young, old, working people deserve to be prioritized. And this misnomer that there's division, and consternation within communities solely based on this issue is just wrong.
BLM Brandon doing his Malcolm X impersonation, adding, whatever is necessary. It's not by any means necessary, whatever is necessary. Whatever is necessary, we should be committed to doing just that, whether it's in the courts, whether it's in the streets, or with policy. We're going to continue to defend and stand up for working people.
312-642-5600. That's our turnkey.pro answer line. The text line is also up and running. Yeah, well, he was on MSNBC on Sunday, just, talking like, we got to hold the line. We got to stand firm.
Yeah, let me just first acknowledge the level of anxiety and fear and trepidation that this administration has caused. You've never seen a society improve or expand under this type of fear. And we're going to continue to resist, and we're going to do it in many different ways, whether it's taken to the streets or to the courts or policy. One of the things that I am very proud of is that we are a welcoming city, which means our local law enforcement do not dub or behave as federal ICE agents. And so our local law enforcement, as we continue to rebuild and expand trust amongst all of our residents, it's important that we hold that line.
Holding the line. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yesterday it was classic. I don't know if you probably don't bore yourself. It's too pedestrian for you to watch local news. But they had this woman who was called into the ICE immigration office downtown, on Michigan Avenue there. And she brought her two sons with her who are both serving our country. They're both in the National Guard.
Yeah, I saw the Garcia
Yeah, the
brothers.
Garcia, right. And they were waiting for that. She was torn away from her children moment, and nothing happened. She walked in with her boys. She was there for a few hours, and she walked out, and she went back home.
Recent polling on this, by the way, just in terms of BLM Brandon's suggestion that there's no division and that most of the country is rallying around his position. That's not really what we find from polling. In fact, the border security issue continues to be the issue for which President Trump gets his highest marks in his second term, including 70% of those surveyed in a recent poll that call for people who broke the law in L.A. during the riots that have now subsided largely. 68% violators must be prosecuted. In terms of, it's important that they be prosecuted.
Yeah.
Only 1 in 5 Los Angelinos, remember the demographics you're talking about here politically, only 1 in 5 suggests that not charging people who crossed the line during the riots, looting, and other acts of violence be prosecuted. 65% of Americans give Trump credit for the new Operation Control Over Our Border. Among independent voters, 63% give Trump the credit. Only 22% disagree, or hardcore Trump haters. So this is an issue where the more that BLM Brandon and politicians like him, politicians that are part of the identitarian dependency cartel, the more they talk about this in the way that Brandon Johnson talks about it, the better it gets for Trump, and more importantly, the more it rallies popular support around these commonsensical policies. Joe in Naperville.
Yeah, Brandon Johnson, just like every other loser in history that rings the bell with communism. You lose every time. Every single time capitalism and freedom is done like President Trump, it's a winner. Johnson is nothing more than trying to pick a devil to fight with to rally his group, and it's going to lose.
Thanks for the call, Joe. Well, yeah, and of course you have to go to race. I mean, that's sort of the cover that identitarians like Brandon Johnson, specifically black race hustling politicians like Brandon Johnson use, and that's what he did.
He's working to eliminate black history. He is trying to eliminate black existence from this country, but he's also attacking the LGBTQ+.
I wouldn't say he's trying to eliminate black existence.
What we're going to do is we're going to bring people together in this country to make sure we build the safest, most affordable big city in America. Chicago is the place to be, and I'm looking forward to the work that we will continue to do to build the safest, most affordable big city.
Even, the fungible CNN anchor was having a hard time swallowing Brandon Johnson's claim that Trump is trying to eliminate black existence.
And black history. I keep hearing that over and over again, and no one ever follows up. Like, what do you mean when you say that?
Brandon,
are they trying to shut down black museums or what? Like History Month? What does that mean?
What it means is BLM Brandon and his fellow apparatchiks are going to stand up to this tyranny that he described generically.
Well, first of all, I mean, again, clearly this president has demonstrated a great deal of animus as well as hostility towards working people. Look, immigrants have played an incredible role in our overall economy. And just like my family migrated from the South during a great migration, as black folks found refuge here in Chicago, immigrants find refuge across the world. We actually contribute so much to the overall national economy. If the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois were to remove its investments or its dollars, its tax dollars towards the federal government, many red states, quite frankly, would crumble. Look, we're not like that. We're not, going to govern in that type of isolation. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stand up to tyranny.
Yeah, many red states would crumble if not for the largesse that Illinois sends to D.C. to be redistributed. Right. And while he was talking about Governor Abbott spending $220 million to bus migrants to where they would like to be, sanctuary cities like Chicago, New York, L.A. Yesterday, Governor Abbott signed a bill providing $10 billion in property tax relief for Texas residents. Yeah, it's the red states that are really struggling financially, not the bankrupt blue states. Something else, though, just in that piece, I think people get this, but it's just, I think, useful to frame it. But this is what is not working for them. Brandon Johnson comparing his family being part of the great migration of blacks from the South to the North seeking economic opportunity and freedom, economic freedom, is he uses that as a parallel to, say, somebody being invited into the country by politicians like him, who happens to be a Tren de Aragua gangbanger in Venezuela, and then comes here not seeking economic opportunity, but seeking to prey on other people.
Right.
So
not really being appreciative that he's in America.
Well, the point is, when you take those two scenarios and you suggest that they are equivalents, you lose the argument. anybody listening to that who has sort of any firing synapses is going to hear that and say that those are not the same things. We can make sensible distinctions between people that come here illegally and then do more illegal stuff and U.S. citizens moving around the country for economic opportunity. It's not persuasive.
No.
Coming up at 5:38, we'll have more on this topic, including the man-hating shrews on The View, view-splaining immigration to Arnold. 5:38.
That's good impersonation. And the Oscar goes to, we'll explain. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 69 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The U.S. is warning Americans about going to the Middle East.
The warning comes after a Fox News report that the White House is now considering an offensive strike against Iran.
Not to travel to Israel or Iraq, and not to travel to Iran under any circumstances.
State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said the Israel-Iran conflict is a rapidly evolving situation. Bruce said the State Department has set up a task force to help U.S. citizens in the Middle East stay informed. She again reiterated that President Trump has said time and time again Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I'm Mark Mayfield.
President Trump is indicating that he'll likely extend the deadline for TikTok to be sold yet again. The popular video sharing app currently faces the possibility of being banned in the U.S. if its China-based owner ByteDance doesn't sell it by Thursday. When asked Tuesday if it will extend the deadline, Trump said, yeah, probably. He says, yeah, probably we'll have to get China's approval, but I think we'll get it. I think President Xi will ultimately approve it. This will be the third time that Trump has extended the deadline. This report is sponsored by Starbucks. The Starbucks Summer Berry Refresher is back. Notes of raspberry, blueberry, and blackberry shaken with ice and poured over raspberry-flavored pearls. Make it yours. Try it with lemonade or coconut milk. Available for a limited time, Summer Berry Refresher is ready at Starbucks. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check out your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Charlie Kirk sees an ironic connection.
You cannot be a leftist while also being in lockstep with what is best for Western civilization, including what is Israel. And the number one funder of these groups are American Jews. It's by far. They fund the colleges. They'll name the names of the schools. They are funding their own demise.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
You deserve a dedicated financial resource. Meet Michelle Shute with West Point Financial Group, a MassMutual firm. Michelle builds lifelong relationships, guiding families through legacy strategies. From grandparents down to grandkids, she helps people secure their financial independence. Her tailored approach to savings can help you prepare for college, retirement, or business protection. Michelle's needs-based approach helps you prepare for all of life's biggest moments. Michelle Shute of West Point Financial Group, helping you earn, learn, and secure your tomorrow. Email Michelle at mshoot@financialguide.com. That's MSCHOOT @financialguide.com. Local firms or sales offices of Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company. MassMutual, Springfield, Massachusetts 01111-001, and are not subsidiaries of MassMutual or its affiliated companies. Michelle Shute is a registered representative of and offers securities through MML Investor Services, LLC, member SIPC. Supervisory office located at 30 South Wacker Drive, Suite 2700, Chicago, Illinois 60606.
Is it time to get your children and grandchildren out of the godless government schools? You cannot allow your loved ones to be forcibly subjected to ungodly psychological examinations and perverse sexual teachings. You would not send your child to a school that teaches 2 + 2 is 5. What is being taught today is far worse and damaging to minds and hearts. We can help through our on-campus Christian school and homeschool program. For over 55 years, Christian Liberty has operated a Christian school now located in Arlington Heights, and we have served hundreds of thousands of families across our nation and foreign countries through our homeschool program, Christian Liberty Homeschools. Visit ChristianLiberty.com to learn more or to schedule a tour of our excellent 12-acre facility in Arlington Heights and learn about our educational programs. Take action today. Visit ChristianLiberty.com. Experience the best in our on-campus Christian school and homeschool program and get more information at ChristianLiberty.com.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find it in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or Amazon, or newnordicusa.com.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, clouds and humid, heavy thunderstorm this afternoon. That could trigger damaging winds, maybe even an isolated tornado, high 77. Breezy this evening, partly cloudy, shower and thunderstorm, low 64. Partly sunny, less humid tomorrow, the high 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We were discussing BLM Brandon throwing down on the Trump administration over expected ICE enforcement actions. With a focus on big cities that the Trump administration has placed.
I wish the reporter, I'm sorry for interrupting, but the reporter on MSNBC or CNN would have said, when you say you're going to resist, when you say you're going to fight back, what exactly are you going to do? What does that look like?
Yeah, well,
and there's nothing. I mean,
no, there is something. He told CNN yesterday how he's going to respond to this expected ICE activity.
What specifically are you doing as mayor of Chicago to prepare for the potential of that happening?
Well, we have an entire apparatus in the city of Chicago where people know their rights as a welcoming city, whether it's our sister agencies, whether it's our city departments, to ensure that any type of violation against our local ordinance, we're not going to work in collaboration and coordination with the federal government. If the president is actually serious about addressing critical issues in this city and across America, he would respond as I have responded. Building more affordable homes, making sure that we're driving violence down the city of Chicago. He clearly has demonstrated a great deal of hostility towards the interests of working people. So we're going to continue to do what's necessary. We're going to bring policy. We're going to make sure we take it to the courts, as we've already have sued this administration in his effort to fire federal employees, which are overwhelmingly women, and particularly Black and brown women. But we're also going to make sure that people can rightfully, peacefully protest and assemble to raise their voice. It's not just one thing in particular. It's going to take all of us to push back against this federal administration, because it's a threat to our democracy.
Of course it is. It's a whole of government approach through the streets and the courts and the legislative bodies and the churches and the NGOs, the apparatus that he references. Yeah, oh, sure. No, the government-funded apparatus to subvert federal immigration law. We're familiar with it. So that's what he's going to do, which is basically more of the same, and he's going to bloviate in the direction that you just heard. That's the response. Okay. All right. Fine. I mean, I'm fine with it if you're fine with it. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I'm fine with it if you think that's where this train is taking you, and Chicago and Illinois and the country. But I think you're going to find, as I was saying, that you arrive in a place you didn't expect at the end of this. And, the end of it for Brandon Johnson is the spring of 2027.
Think he'll go back to the classroom then? I hope not, for the kids' sake. And everybody has to establish their bona fides on this issue. For Brandon Johnson, it's behind a lectern. For all this talk about being, a street-level guy, you rarely really see him at street-level incidents. He's not going to do the Alex Padilla. He's not going to do the LaMonica MacGyver. But that doesn't mean others won't. No.
Everybody has to carve out their position when it comes to the identitarian dependency cartel. And so, for example, yesterday, somebody who did want to raise his profile in the mayor's race, not here in Chicago, in New York City, of course, was the city comptroller. His name is
Brad Lander.
Well, his name is largely irrelevant, but it is technically Brad Lander. Okay. And this is what happened when ICE had taken someone into custody and was moving them off-site. he jumped in and grabbed hold of the person that ICE had taken into custody and was interfering with ICE moving him to a detention facility.
Sir, where is the warrant? Sir, I have my hand here. I would like to see the warrant. I would like to see the warrant, and then I will let go. I would like to see the warrant, and then I will let go.
And he's pushing police.
Let's go. You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest
Screaming for a warrant.
You don't have the, I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant. Am I asking for a judicial warrant? You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for a judicial warrant. Stay back, please. Stay back.
Go too. Sorry. No way. I'm safe.
I mean, they don't have to show him diddly squat. Not his business.
So that's his moment. So that'll turn into a vignette online, and he'll probably be able to muster up some tears about the trauma he suffered at the hands of the Gestapo that is ICE. And maybe he gets a little traction in that New York City mayor's race, because that's the sorts of things that you have to do to appeal to the base of that party.
Well, guess who busted him out of jail? Well, he was detained. Kathy Hochul was there, so she was there for the press conference. And, of course, his wife spoke because she's traumatized.
I mean, it's not what I want to say to them, but, I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing as a country? If they're going to take Brad into the elevator like that, and he's the citywide elected official, how are they treating our neighbors and our other folks? I mean, I would say that, you know, they represent the Justice Department at some point, and this is the antithesis of justice.
Yeah, thanks, Mom. Thanks, honey. It's that same line that Padilla used. If they treat me like this, if they treat my husband, elected officials like this, what are they doing to American citizens?
It's the commentary on the party, their party. This is what you have to do to make an appeal, and this is apparently persuasive to a plurality of their party, the sorts of arguments you're hearing, despite what you actually see these individuals do, interfering with the federal law enforcement action, touching federal law enforcement personnel, if not doing a little bit more than touching, pushing and otherwise battering federal law enforcement personnel, as we've seen as well. You bum rush a stage with a Homeland Security Secretary screaming questions, and you're a sitting U.S. Senator, and then you recast that. I mean, they think that it apparently is persuasive. More importantly, you have politicians across the country that are members of that neo-Marxist party that believe this is where they need to be in order to sustain themselves, if not advance themselves. That's the real commentary for me. Corey and Woodlawn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, thanks for taking the call, Dan and Amy. You know, Brandon Johnson obviously never read Article 6 of the Constitution. The federal law is the supreme law of the land. So as he teaches people to violate the federal law, what makes you think they're going to comply with city ordinances? I mean, we've got to get this guy out of here.
Yeah, well, thanks for the call, Corey.
2027.
What makes you think that he matters if people comply with city ordinances? I mean, you know, depending on their politics. These are our kings, right? The no kings. Right? They project who they are, and so they govern by whim, not by the rule of law, not by a founding document, unless that founding document is Mao's Little Red Book. Craig in Mount Greenwood.
Oh, hey, good morning, Dan and Amy, and thank you for taking my call. Dan, you're exactly right. Probably our only opportunity to deal with this menace is 2027. But in the meantime, this guy is basically continually puts his local, city, state law stuff above the government, and I would love to see the administration be able to lock this guy up and throw some cuffs on him before 2027, because he's such an anti-law and anti-American menace to us.
Thanks for the call, Craig. Well, he hasn't done anything illegal that I'm aware of. And frankly, I don't want him to go away. Why do you want the Socialist Spice Girls to go away? Why would you want BLM Brandon to go away? You want him to stay around and talk and talk and talk.
Pritzker, too.
Mark in Oak Lawn.
Dan, thanks for taking my call. He basically is using all this rhetoric just to get some attention, and he's trying to look at his election, trying to get reelected, and he's really he doesn't focus on anything that's important that the people of Chicago really need, is education, jobs, that sort of thing. It's all a distraction because he doesn't know how to really bring companies into Chicago, or he doesn't know how to negotiate with people because he's a militant guy, and it's too bad because the people of Chicago are the ones that suffer for all his anti-Trump racism card stuff.
Thanks for the call, Mark. Well, I'll tell you what, the good news is that when people say, I see what Brandon Johnson is doing, this is a distraction, it conveys an understanding that it's a distraction, so it just reinforces that he's abrogating his responsibilities, or even any attempt to fulfill his responsibilities. It ends up being a boomerang a bit. I'll tell you, here is a funny thing, too. It just shows you the mentality you're dealing with at least a plurality of this neo-Marxist party I reference often. The Pinal County Sheriff Ross Teeple, Pinal County, Arizona. Yeah. There was a ICE protest there, but it was...
Mom saw it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, they were surprised at how many Democrats were there, and they thought people got bussed in because it was huge.
So this was an ICE protest that ICE did not attend.
Hey, everyone. Yesterday, my detectives were serving a search warrant on a cartel member where they took all of this drugs off the streets. We've got fentanyl pills. We've got cocaine. We got methamphetamines. We got guns seized from this cartel member. Here's the crazy part. Some idiots thinking it was an ICE raid came down in protest.
Go home and tell your families what you do for a living. Hey, hey, go home.
You want to protest this not getting off the streets? That's insane. Stay out of Pinal County if you're going to commit crime. And I really want to thank my anti-smuggling unit for this long investigation. This was over a half-a-year investigation where they got 32 pounds of cocaine off the street and 22 pounds of methamphetamines off the street, to include the fentanyl pills. Thanks, guys. You're doing a great job keeping the county safe. Hey, everyone. Yesterday, my detectives were...
Okay, so you said I should go home and tell my family. Okay, I'm going to go home and tell my family I'm with the anti-smuggling unit of the Pinal County Sheriff's Office.
That's great.
What are you going to go home and tell your family that you do? The professional grievance mongers out
little
there on
social
the streets.
Justice warriors, yay.
They're the dizzying intellects that you're dealing with here. By the way, just as a quick aside, I mean, some updating the data here. Illegal border crossings, May over May. Yay. May over May. May of 2024, there were 118,000. May of 2025, there were 8,000. That's a 93% drop. May of 2024, illegals released by Customs and Border Patrol. May of 2024, 64,000 illegals were released into the country. May of 2025, zero were released. That's a 100% drop.
Yeah.
For those statisticians listening. Gosh, what changed?
What happened, Dan? Do you know?
So when BLM Brandon says the federal government failed, and that's why the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois had to step in. No, it turned out just as President Trump said in that speech he gave to the joint session of Congress, that we didn't need a new policy, we just needed a new president. Boom goes the dynamite.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth, talks about the importance of tax planning in retirement.
A qualified financial planner can take you through all the steps to show you every single legal way you can use to reduce and minimize your state income taxes across the board so that, again, you keep more of your money and your family keeps more of your money.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer on Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now at danandamy247.com.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we have another sort of Riley Gaines, Simone Biles contretemps, but it's not them. J.K. Rowling and Boy George.
Didn't see that one coming.
Where has been Karma Chameleon? Where has he been hiding these days?
I thought he passed away. I guess he hasn't.
He is very much alive.
Okay, thank you.
She, J.K. Rowling, you know, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
She posted on X, which rights have been, you know, she's goes back and forth and has these debates with these rabid trans activists. Which rights have been taken away from trans people? And then somebody responds, the freedom to live without constant persecution, which you and your TERF army have taken from them. And then Boy George decided to weigh in and say the right to be left alone by a rich, bored bully. Well, J.K. Rowling had a extended response to Boy George. There are many differences between us, George, but some are particularly relevant to this debate. Actually, J.K. Rowling, if you've followed her at all in these discussions, is quite measured and thoughtful and pointed. It's a nice combination. There are many differences between us, George, but some are particularly relevant to this debate. Number one, you're a man and I'm a woman. Number two, you've been wealthy and famous since your early 20s. I didn't become well-known until I was well over 30. Number three, I've never been given 15 months for handcuffing a man to a wall and beating him with a chain. Well,
then there's that.
It's nice that she embedded that as number three. Yeah, maybe I would have led with that in terms of the differences. But yeah, number four, I believe in freedom of speech and belief. For more than half my life, I was a regular anonymous person. Some of those years were spent in poverty. It's why I understand the importance of single-sex spaces for women who are reliant on state-funded services. It's why I understand why mixed public changing rooms are a problem for women. It's why I have a problem with men identifying into women's rape crisis centers, domestic abuse and homeless shelters that are supposed to be single-sex. I don't stand against gender identity ideology because I personally still need those services, but because my life has taught me exactly how vulnerable women are when they don't have the money and influence that I have now. You yourself have been convicted of a violent assault. The overwhelming number of people who commit crimes of violence are male, just like you, Boy George. That's why I don't want to see men identifying into women's prison cells or any of the other spaces mentioned above. Not all men are violent or predatory, but enough are to make safeguarding necessary. Lastly, I'm a writer who believes in freedom of speech and belief. As we both know, the safe, fashionable thing in the arts world right now is to do exactly what you're doing. Parrot and sneer at the unenlightened plebes who think sex is important and matters. For a man who was once all about nonconformity, George, you couldn't have become more predictably or more tediously conformist. That was a response to you're a rich, bored bully. I mean, that's where you really see the chasm open up between the quality of thinking that goes on. And I wouldn't even call, as J.K. Rowling to say, on the right, just on sort of the sensible person who has processed a particular cultural or public policy issue versus somebody who is just, exactly as J.K. Rowling said, tediously parroting a talking point that 45,000 other people posted on X mindlessly.
And then once again, activists are calling for people to boycott any Harry Potter books or any projects. I mean, it's so predictable.
Well, they've been boycotting
her for a while.
Well, they've been boycotting Boy George and Culture Club for a while, since about the 1987.
Well, he
did have a couple. They did have a couple good songs.
It was a male escort that he basically kidnapped and assaulted, and he told Piers Morgan that it was a psychotic episode, Dan. That's all that it was.
Yeah. No, right. He was not of his right mind.
Yeah. Well, he can't take full responsibility for it.
I'm somewhat persuaded that Boy George is not of his right mind, just generally speaking.
Okay. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:06, I guess we'll get to this little tempest in a teapot in Mount Prospect in Arlington Heights over license plates. We'll do that at 6:06.
Today we're going to have cloudy, cooler conditions, morning showers, and then this afternoon, heavy rain and thunderstorms, hail, possibly damaging wind, and possibly a tornado. But we're still playing golf, Dan. I want to see you out on that golf course, and a high of 77 degrees. It is now 6 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
Iran's supreme leader speaks out. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, saying Israel made a huge mistake and will be punished for it as the attacks continue.
The Israeli warplanes were active last night. The IDF says 50 fighter jets hit the skies and hit some 20 targets in Iran overnight. We just heard from the IDF. Some of the targets included sites that produce raw materials and components for missiles and missile launchers.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv, which Iran targeted again with more missiles.
There were 2 separate attacks that came just after midnight, some 30 separate launches from Iran. The missile defense systems did their sights. There were multiple interceptions in the skies over Tel Aviv last night. Some of the missiles did reach the ground. There was one parking lot that was set on fire.
But no reports yet of casualties. Will the U.S. get involved to help take out Iran's nuclear program, feared to be building weapons? Iran warns that would lead to all-out war in the region.
President Trump says he's not interested in a ceasefire. He wants Iran's unconditional surrender. Trump met with his national security team at the Situation Room in the White House yesterday. Options were presented. It's not clear if any final decisions were made.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. More death in Gaza. Palestinian officials claim an Israeli attack killed at least 51 people as people were gathered waiting for new food shipments, more than 200 injured. TikTok isn't going away anytime soon. President Trump plans another 90-day extension this week to a deadline set by law for TikTok to cut ties to its Chinese parent company over concerns China manipulates TikTok content and can do surveillance on millions of Americans' TikTok users. Now to Miami.
Congratulations.
They celebrated last night another championship on ice.
The Panthers go back-to-back. The Stanley Cup will remain here in South Florida.
The call on TNT after the Panthers won the Cup again, beating the Edmonton Oilers again. Florida topped Edmonton 5-1 in Game 6 of the final. America's
Good morning. It's 70 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Mayor Johnson isn't backing down against threats that President Trump will target his city with militarized immigration enforcement. Mayor Johnson says Chicagoans, quote, have to go as far as necessary to protect the Constitution.
Whether it's in the courts, whether it's in the streets or with policy, we're going to continue to defend and stand up for working people.
Johnson noted he doesn't expect the federal government to give advance notice if they deploy troops in Chicago. Today is the last day in office for Chicago Public Schools CEO Pedro Martinez. He will move on to a new job in Massachusetts as State Education Commissioner. Martinez spoke earlier this week to the media about his struggles with Mayor Johnson and the Chicago Teachers Union. He said that City Hall and the CTU have bullied him and his staff. He added that Mayor Johnson asked him to step down after he refused to a high-interest loan to cover a budget shortfall. And the Chicago Park District's public pools are scheduled to open this weekend. All 50 outdoor and 27 indoor pools will be ready for swimmers on Saturday. Each one will have a lifeguard on duty. The pools will remain open until Labor Day. And a teen is dead following a shooting on the south side. Police say the 18-year-old was found shot inside a vehicle yesterday in the 2800 block of East 93rd Street. The victim has been identified as Johnny Jackson Jr. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. No arrests have been made so far. This news update is quickly delivered by Quick Delivery Service. For reliable same-day delivery, Quick Delivery will customize a logistics plan to pick up your items and move them safely to their destination. Trust their 40 years of experience for peace of mind. Get a quote at quickdelivery.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
This week on Capitol Hill is the best way to get informed on everything going on with Congress. Hosted by Tony Perkins and the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
We're going to have another reconciliation bill, possibly 2 additional bills coming up in the near future. We're going to continue to codify the DOGE cuts and continue this process.
Stay informed and become a regular listener. This week on Capitol Hill. Sundays at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Quiet down, here she comes. Shh. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $257. There are only 2 good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
From the Team Hawkburg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 15 minutes. Outbound, 15 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Byrne Interchange, 8 minutes. Outbound, 11 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 13 minutes. Outbound, 13 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 16 minutes. Outbound, about 16 minutes. On the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Byrne Interchange, 13 minutes. Outbound, about 11 minutes. Traffic is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, clouds and humid, heavy thunderstorm this afternoon. That could trigger damaging winds, maybe even an isolated tornado, high 77. Breezy this evening, partly cloudy, shower and thunderstorm, low 64. Partly sunny, less humid tomorrow, the high 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios,
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The sanctuary state designation that Illinois enjoys, how are you enjoying it? Is not limited to people in this country illegally. It also includes people that come here for abortions. Those would be women who come here for abortions because that's our burgeoning industry is being the Midwest hub of abortions. And so there's some histrionics emanating from northwest suburban Cook County, Mount Prospect and Arlington Heights in particular, over a Texas Sheriff's Department looking for a missing woman who apparently had an abortion and accessing license plate data that law enforcement shares with one another as a matter of course.
Yeah, it's called the Alpha System, and basically they use the data to try and find her. They just said that she had a self-administered abortion, but then she went missing, so they're looking for her.
So this instance in Texas, they said it's for abortion. And what we've seen in other municipalities is it says for immigration purposes. That violates the law here on the books in Illinois.
So basically
who is that, LEG?
That's LEG who's spearheading this, saying, you come to Illinois to get an abortion and they're looking for you. And they've been saying this before. They've had press conferences before, him and Pritzker, saying, if people come from Iowa, Indiana to get an abortion, that they're fearful that they're going to read their plates, saying authorities in their home states of Iowa and Indiana are going to read their plates and then arrest them after getting an abortion because it's illegal in their state. It's a bunch of bull jive. It's a lie.
Well, it doesn't work that way.
No, I know it doesn't. But they had press conferences saying that's what's, we're going to protect you even if they try and get your plate number while you're crossing the border to get an abortion. We're here for you.
So the point here is, though, that Texas Sheriff's Department is looking for this woman because she's missing. They're not looking to extradite her and prosecute her for having an abortion out of state.
Exactly. But that truth is not coming out. Only you have to listen to this station to get the truth. And because of that, last night, Arlington Heights, they had a town hall meeting, and they decided to temporarily block outside law enforcement agencies from accessing the automated license plate reader data amid this controversy that erupted in Mount Prospect. But the data also accessed by other agencies to conduct 262 searches related to immigration matters as well. So it's a bunch of lies. This is why, don't believe the mainstream media, because the truth is they're looking for her because she's missing. And that's what the plate reader's all about, right, Allie G?
Automatic license plate readers are there to prevent violent crime, to prevent carjacking, to find stolen vehicles, and to help when there's a kidnapping.
Or a missing person. But he couldn't bring himself to say that. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on the same line.
Yeah, I mean, .leg is a big mimbo. Anybody who knows anything about Illinois politics knows that. He's a joke.
The Contrarian calls him the Ron Burgundy of politicians.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you like that one?
Sort of. Yeah, that's definitely over the target.
And stop being a teenager. He keeps posting videos of him working out.
Arlington Heights trustee Karina Santa Maria.
Oh, boy.
Here we go again, one of these suburban awfuls. Technology like Flock, that's the cameras, she said, technology like Flock is supposed to protect our communities, not be weaponized to punish people from exercising their rights or for existing as immigrants. What happened is an egregious violation of public trust, and our community deserves answers, transparency, and accountability. We owe it to the residents of Arlington Heights to ensure that their personal data is not misused. I'm sorry, what happened? What happened? I mean, what has happened? Is this woman been found?
No, she's not, and they won't even tell us what her name is.
What happened is there's a missing woman from Texas, and the Texas Sheriff's Department, some Texas Sheriff's Department, is trying to find her, and that's what's happened so far.
If you really want to find her, use your platform, use your power to say who she is.
That is what has happened so far. So what is the violation of public trust? The community deserves answers, transparency, accountability, personal data is misused, and so on. That is based on what? What evidence? That seems like they've concocted a story to, again, score points with their pea-hat-addled base over abortion on demand and illegal immigration on demand. That seems to me.
Yeah.
We have a missing woman and law enforcement looking for her, and this is controversial in Illinois.
And she allegedly had self-administered abortion. But I mean, I'm saying that Ali G, if he really cares about this missing woman, what's her name? What, give us some details. We can help you look. Use your platform to get that information out there. But of course, he doesn't do that.
Well,
this is all just he's scoring political points. He doesn't really care.
Well, you have to follow their logic. If he or these local officials publicized her name, wouldn't that undermine the argument that they're protecting her from these predatory Texas sheriff's police? Right?
Yeah.
They don't, just like they don't want to cooperate with federal law enforcement, they certainly don't want to cooperate with, sheriff's department out of Texas, of all places.
Right. If it was New York, it'd be different. But it's big, bad Texas. Where they're racist.
George in Naperville.
Yes, Dan, this isn't going to affect the good work the red light cameras do in our state, is it?
Thanks for the call, George. I'm not sure that's this technology stuff is sort of and the Orwellian concerns about it is sort of a separate and distinct issue. I'm just trying to get my mind around how they're making the case that this is about protecting a woman who has gone missing. That they are in the position of protector of women's rights advocates. I'm unclear on that. I need that Ali G explained to me. Brian in Wheatfield, Indiana.
Yeah, I'm unclear on that too, Dan. So it's not a civil rights issue to give you a ticket when you can't defend yourself or whatever. But when it comes to abortion, which I thought they were really proud of doing and loud and proud about it, but now all of a sudden we can't use that to find somebody. I'm with you. I can't wrap my head around it either.
Well, thanks for the call. I mean, but my take on this is that the abortion is being shoehorned into this conversation, and what we have is a missing woman who happened to get an abortion, but that is not material to why law enforcement is looking for her in Texas. She's from Texas.
She was up here in this area.
She's gone missing.
She's gone missing.
Probably people from that are related to her are concerned about her whereabouts, so they contacted local police. And I mean, is this complicated? And then local police contacted local police where she was last seen or believed to be.
And then they checked the plate readers, his Alpha system.
And then we're talking about abortion? What?
And immigration. They said
Is she here illegally?
No, she's not. But then they said,
well, then why are we talking about immigration?
Hold on.
When this data is being used to track people getting abortions or for ICE to use to track down individuals based on immigration policy, that is a very slippery slope.
What is the evidence that it's being used to track her down because she had an abortion? You just keep saying that.
I know.
Honestly.
And this guy, he's probably going to run for mayor or governor of Illinois. Ali G, don't trust him.
Don't trust him? Oh, my goodness. I'm seriously. How embarrassing are these people? This is just so silly.
They said that when they were looking into this, Mount Prospect data also accessed by other agencies to conduct 262 searches related to immigration matters.
Are there any adults in Mount Prospect or Arlington Heights? Because I'm not putting this all on LEG. Because everybody runs around defecating all over themselves at the invocation of the A word. Does anybody just say, what the hell are you talking about? We have a missing woman, and we're trying to help Texas Sheriff's Police find this missing woman because, her family or friends probably like to know that she is somewhere and she's safe and so forth. That's it. Nobody can say that?
And they turned it into, she's being hunted down. Well, and my conjecture on my point that she's being hunted down because she had an abortion, and that's illegal in Texas.
I get it.
Yeah.
And then you have these, these frumpy middle-aged harridans like this Karina Santa Maria chick, who's on the board in Arlington Heights. Of course she is. Going full AOC over this. It's all just so silly. It's like insultingly stupid. But I don't know in some of these suburban, these tree-lined suburban communities that there is a majority of residents that are capable of being insulted by their local officials. I really don't know. These local officials pop up everywhere. You want to understand why Republicans have lost DuPage County, and not to mention, Northwest Suburban Cook, obviously, but DuPage and the Collar counties, because you turn it over. You at the local level in your neighborhood. Stop talking to me about Trump. Have turned your communities over to people like this. Insultingly stupid people.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call now at 800-533-6605 for a free consultation. For 17 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and a Christian-owned company. Don't get stuck in the endless cycle of payments. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Christian-owned Total Financial Freedom now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605. 800-533-6605.
Guys, looking for a Father's Day gift that will give Dad the extra boost of health and energy he needs to live his best life? Synergen X and Low T Center are offering free weight loss consultations and free T-tests as a special offer celebrating dads. Treatment is personalized to you, and most major insurance is accepted. With the freedom to choose in-center care or at-home treatment, you're helping put Dad back in control of his health. From now until June 21st, enjoy a free B12 shot when you stop in for TRT and weight loss. Offer is limited, so book now at fixmylowt.com.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it, literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available. Financing is flexible. And at Air Right, installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you, and Air Right will give you $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling, doing it right since 1959.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys. And I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, I mean, just so we're clear on the Texas law. First of all, Texas law, like all these laws that restrict abortion, the law criminalizes the performance of abortion. You're not imprisoning women. You're not going after women who had abortions and prosecuting them for abortion. I don't know where. That's not done anywhere. You have a right to travel.
Exactly.
The laws of one state do not apply to another state with respect to acts that take place out of that state. So, in other words, if you're, I mean, like you in Texas, you know, back before the relevant Supreme Court decisions, in Texas, you could own a gun. You could legally carry a gun. At the same time that in Chicago, you couldn't even legally own one.
Right. Or in Texas, when I lived there, you can have open carry. I'm sorry, you can have alcohol in the car. You just have to sit in the back seat. I mean, there's different rules in different states.
But guns is a constitutional right. So if I carry a gun in Chicago, but I'm from Texas during the handgun ban in Chicago, then I get prosecuted in Chicago, even though I'm from Texas. And right. So, I mean, this is pretty basic stuff. Well, and so none of this makes any sense. I'm talking about the Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Allie G imbroglio over this woman who went missing after having an abortion. I guess here, I don't even know if it was here, but regardless, Texas is not extraditing women who have abortions in states where it's legal to be prosecuted under state law. It'd be unconstitutional. So there is no there with whatever these state and local politicians are claiming in Illinois.
Okay, this is a little kink. So in 2023, Allie G spearheaded the first in the nation legislation making it illegal, bear with me, for law enforcement in other states to use license plates camera to track or penalize individuals seeking abortion care or a person's immigration status.
So?
So it took effect in 2024, so law enforcement agencies must attest that license plate data will not be used to prosecute or enforce another state's laws pertaining to abortion care or immigration status.
So what?
I'm just saying that's...
You're saying what? What are you saying?
I'm just telling you what law is in place.
What does that have to do with this discussion?
Because they're claiming that they think that Texas is looking for her because she had an abortion here.
Did I just go through the Texas?
Yeah.
Did I just go through the difference between the state laws? Did I just go through what the state laws? So what? So he created some addendum to the sanctuary state legislation that folds in abortion and includes license plates for you. So what? It makes no difference. It's very simple. This is very simple. What they're saying is utter and complete nonsense. Mm-hmm. That's how simple it is. Speaking of insultingly stupid, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, not exactly an intellectual giant himself, but relatively speaking, Arnold was on The View, and of course the discussion was about the LA riots, mostly peaceful, and immigration generally. Arnold is one.
Oh, yeah.
And here's what he had to say about people coming to this country. I guess this is, he still retains a little bit of what I guess attracted California voters center-right voters to Arnold back in the recall days where he replaced Gray Davis before he actually became a governor. It was a catastrophe.
I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal. And those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest. And you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can. Keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better place.
You know what's so funny about the reaction from those lobotomized drones in the audience of The View? You just have to use certain buzzwords or buzz phrases, and you get applause from these leftist seals like the View audience. Give something back. Oh, I'm for giving something back. Even though actually the underlying thing that he was saying, you're going to get disagreement from by these open borders leftists, like those sitting around him at that table, these man-hating shrews on The View. And so after he does this thing where behave like a guest, it seems commonsensical. No, common sense has no place here on The View. Let's View-splain this thing to Arnold. And so Whoopi and Sonny, Thelma and Louise have to get involved here.
Arnold, don't forget, there's 90% of the people who come here are trying to do the right thing.
They're less likely to commit crimes.
And a lot of what's happening right now is people are getting snatched who shouldn't be snatched out of the country, people who have visas, people who have all those things. So we want all the right people. We don't want people who are doing bad stuff.
But they are less likely, immigrants are much less likely to commit crimes in this country than actually American-born citizens. And the other thing I just wanted to say is that Governor Newsom did not ask for the National Guard to come to, the federal government to come to California. There are 9,000 local law enforcement officers in California. Did he really?
Oh my goodness.
We'll have John Lott on later in the show to give lie to this idea that American citizens commit crimes at higher rates than illegal immigrants. But
we learned yesterday from you, Alderman Lopez said there's 2,000 known criminals that are here illegally that live in Chicago.
Yeah, 2,000 of the 60,000. That's a small percentage, but it's a big problem. Sonny Hostin, I mean, if Arnold had, his wits about him, which he doesn't, he might have said to Sonny Hostin, okay, let's say, or Whoopi, 90% here trying to do the right thing. Okay.
Then
so
10%.
15 million people were allowed into this country in the previous administration. 10% of that would be 1.5 million. Is 1.5 million people coming into this country who don't want to do the right thing? Do you think that's a problem? Right. Just like the idea is because we have domestic criminals, we should be willy-nilly about importing foreign criminals to add to the ranks. I mean, it is so beyond logic. And then, of course, the audience has to sit on their hands because oh, wait, were we not supposed to clap? Oh, man. Rough.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Teasing an interview that Tucker did of one Ted Cruz. A pretty good tease because they got right into it in their disagreement over what the Trump administration should do vis-a-vis Iran. We'll go over that at 6:36.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 70 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The Trump administration is reportedly reversing its recent decision to halt immigration raids on illegals in agriculture, hotels, and restaurants.
The change came just days after the original plan was announced. The Department of Homeland Security informed ICE offices about the shift during a Monday call, as reported by the Washington Post. The decision follows the president's acknowledgement that his aggressive deportation efforts were affecting these industries by removing essential workers. I'm Brian Shook.
Prime Day will last for 4 days this year.
The online retail giant announced its popular annual sale for members will be held July 8th through the 11th. Prime Day started as a one-day event 10 years ago before eventually expanding to 2 days. New this year are Today's Big Deals, which will see themed daily deal drops featuring deep discounts on brands like Samsung and Levi's that will launch daily at midnight Pacific time. Amazon Prime members can start enjoying some early Prime Day deals now. I'm Matt Mattinson.
News is a service of Low T Center. Guys, in celebration of Father's Day, Center Gen X and Low T Center are offering free T-tests and weight loss consultations for a limited time only. Book your free consultation and T-test now until June 21st and get yourself a free B12 shot for an extra boost of energy. Give dad or yourself the gift of a new start this Father's Day. Book now at fixmylowt.com. Fixmylowt.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Larry Elder says we had no choice.
You can dislike President Trump all you want, but were there or were there not, according to Hegseth, 20 million illegal aliens intentionally allowed in this country in the last 4 years? Counting the gotaways and the unknown gotaways, nobody really knows. What in the world are we supposed to do? Nothing?
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
The national debt is soaring and the dollar is weakening. Rising deficits, inflation, and market instability are creating a perfect storm of economic uncertainty. Public figures that were once allies are clashing in the headlines, leaving Americans everywhere asking what's next. In unpredictable times, more people are turning to physical gold and silver as a way to safeguard their savings in retirement. At Advantage Gold, we help you move your IRA or eligible 401k into physical precious metals, tax-free and penalty-free. It's a simple, secure, and proven method to preserving your capital. When you call 800-900-8000, you'll receive a free gold guide packed with real-world strategies to help protect your investment. Plus, for a limited time, you could receive up to $10,000 in precious metals when you open up your qualified gold IRA with Advantage Gold. So don't wait for the next crash or crisis. Take control of your financial future today with Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000 or visit AdvantageGold.com. That's 800-900-8000. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial and tax professionals before making investment decisions. Call 800-900-8000.
As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Mike created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Mike is offering the best deal on his Giza Dreams bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $49.98. That's right, you can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $49.98. Order now because when they're gone, they're gone. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts. Call 800-489-0201. Use promo code LIBERTY or go to mypillow.com. Make sure you use the promo code LIBERTY for the amazing offer of $49.98 on the Giza Dreams sheets, any size and any color. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find it in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or Amazon, or newnordicusa.com.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 18 minutes, 13 minutes outbound. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 15 minutes outbound. It's about 40 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 23 minutes outbound, 16 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 24 minutes outbound, 16 minutes. This report is sponsored by Payday. Hardworking people need a hardworking candy bar packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel. Payday is definitely working hard for you, so grab one to power you through the day. Payday Peanut Caramel Bar. Get to it. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Clouds a bit cooler, still humid though. Heavy thunderstorm this afternoon. That could kick off an isolated tornado, high 77. Breezy this evening, otherwise partly cloudy. Shower and thunderstorm tonight, low 64. Partly sunny tomorrow, the high 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. At last report, Trump has still not made a decision whether or not the United States will formally assist Israel with their strikes against Iran's nuclear sites. The particular focus having been and remaining Fordo, their nuclear or uranium enrichment site buried under a mountain, which the reports are Israel doesn't have the bunker-busting bombs they need to disable that facility or the delivery systems. This is where, at minimum, they need the United States' help. So this has, of course, sparked a lot of debate and disagreement, including within MAGA world between the neo-isolationists, I guess it would be fair to call them, and those that have a more cosmopolitan foreign policy, shall we say. Nicely represented by Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. And Ted Cruz sat down with Tucker Carlson for his podcast. I guess the full interview will be released today. The excerpt that was released yesterday, fairly provocative. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. This line of questioning struck me as a bit pedantic, but you make your own decisions. Here's a snippet of Tucker and Ted going at it.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population. At all? No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah. How could you not know that?
I thought it was 88 million.
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not
okay.
even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
Who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
this is
Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
312-642-5600, Turnkey.pro answer line. How'd you like that exchange? Does that help inform your view, bring you to any definitive conclusion about what you believe the United States should do in this instance?
No, I mean, it sounds like two ladies just trying to each have their I gotcha moment.
Well,
it doesn't really help advance the argument. I just...
It speaks to a real... tension among erstwhile conservatives who have very different views on Israel, number one, and on foreign policy, number two. I know they would call themselves non-interventionists, and there's all sorts of yarns that Tucker Carlson in particular, as we've talked about over the last couple of days, has spun out about the implications of U.S. participation in war with Iran. But very snippy. Very snippy.
It's very immature, very lowbrow.
Well,
for me,
I don't mind the back and forth, but I don't think you have to know to the point of Tucker's rather idiosyncratic sort of gotcha kind of questioning. I don't think you need to know the exact population of a country or the exact ethnic demographics to have an informed opinion about about that country's leadership, about the threats that country poses to the Western world, starting with the United States, or about what should be done about them, what should be and what can be done about them, what the options are. I don't think you need to know, like 2/3 of the population is Persian and 1/4 is Azerbaijan, and then there's a Kurdish. And that okay, and so now let's get back to the Ayatollah and the mullahs in Tehran and the sponsorship of terrorism they do in the Middle East and really across the globe, and the last 25 years, particularly the last 10, of this sort of appeasement strategy, and an assessment of how that has worked, and more of a review of this moment. Now that Israel has crippled Iran, first by crippling its proxies and now directly taking on the leadership of that country and taking out a significant number of that leadership group, does this present a unique opportunity for America to send one of our stated enemies, leading state sponsor of terror in the world, send one of our enemies reeling for the indeterminate future and really sidelining any capacity to develop a nuclear weapon for some time to come?
Because one thing Benjamin Netanyahu said during his interview with Jonathan Karl, I listened to Brett Baers, but it reminds Americans maybe why we might want to get involved.
We're not just fighting our enemy, we're fighting your enemy. For God's sake, they chant, death to Israel, death to America. We're simply on their way. And this could reach America soon. To have these mad mullahs who are committed to destroying us in order to destroy you, to say that they should have nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles to deliver them to you, and to say that that's not you.
Yeah, which is an argument that has been made. They made the same argument about supporting their efforts to eradicate Hamas and Hezbollah after October 7th. And it's a legitimate one. You heard Ted Cruz mention, and that's true, that the Iranians have been behind plots to assassinate Trump and others.
2 plots, yep.
That's what state sponsors of terror do. Take a couple calls. Peter in Highland, Indiana.
Hi. As soon as I heard that exchange, I was reminded of Katie Couric trying to interview Sarah Palin with that initial gotcha, and I was really disappointed in Tucker. I don't have his podcast, but that's what it reminded me of exactly.
When did he start getting catty?
Thanks, Peter.
Or has Tucker Carlson always been a little that way, I should say?
I don't know. I think to go down that line of questioning is to sort of telegraph the weakness of your position, really. That's how that was sort of my immediate reaction to it. I generally like Tucker.
Yeah, you've been on his show when he was on Fox.
Yeah, and
saw you there all dolled up.
But his turn on some of these issues, and particularly the Middle East, particularly Israel, it's puzzling. Now, on the flip side, to provide the expansive opinion here, it doesn't help. Seizing the opportunity to deal an enemy of the state a mortal blow, that's one conversation. It doesn't really help, though, when Lindsey Graham weighs in and is platformed by Hannity and starts saying things like this.
I can guarantee you that if the Ayatollah gets a nuclear weapon, he will use it. I believe that with all my heart and soul. So the men and women who serve, they're the ones going, not people answering a poll. And if you ask them, would you be willing to risk your life to stop the Ayatollah from having a nuclear weapon? All of them would say yes, because it makes their country, our country, safer. So we live in a world where you've got to confront problems. You want to avoid World War III? Learn the lessons from World War II. People in World War II appeased Hitler to the point that it got so much out of hand, we had a world war and 60 million people got killed. So we live in a world where you pay now or you pay later. Let's stop this threat before he gets a nuclear weapon. Let's end this reign of terror. Let's do it now. It's not going to take 20 months, but I can't guarantee you your freedom and your safety unless we're willing to fight for it. I can guarantee you this. If we don't fight for our freedom, we will lose it.
Yeah, well, Senator.
Yeah. Well, I mean, generally, what he said in the last half of that answer is okay, but he's talking about servicemen and women would be happy to go fight in Iran in furtherance of our freedoms. Well, I'm sure they would do it out of sense of duty, but it sounds like Lindsey Graham is promoting boots on the ground in Iran again, and that is not certainly my position. So, but this is the expansive opinion on this, in the center-right universe, if you will. Will and Skokie.
Good morning. Tucker has to realize it's not about ethnicity. It's not about discrimination against an ethnicity. It's about they're trying to put together a freaking atomic bomb. Iran with an atomic bomb is dangerous to the world, not just Israel. It's about the atomic bomb. And I think that Trump is being very judicious. He's like, let's evaluate all the options before we start, going to war. This is what it's about. It's about a nuclear weapon. I was educated as a physicist, and during my internship, I worked at Sandia Labs, actually putting together nuclear bombs. Not me, but, I was there when they were doing it. It's very easy for them to do it once they get the uranium. It's simple to put together a bomb once you have the uranium. So have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks.
Bob in Lake Villa.
Hey, good morning, guys. Excited about playing around the golf with you this afternoon.
It's going to be gorgeous.
Bring your umbrella. Rain gear.
Your gulags. Yeah, it's going to be great. Wear your water boots.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Hey, the Persian people do not support the Ayatollah. For decades, since the early 70s, they've been living in tyranny. And that just goes to show you the genius of our founding forefathers that started this country and put the Second Amendment in place. If they had the ability to stop that leadership over there, they would handle it themselves. But they don't have the rights that this great country has.
Thanks for the call, Bob. Kip in Stillman Valley.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I'm drowning here in the sea of technology with the new Starlink, home internet, and got all kinds of great things going on. But I'll tell you what, I seen that interview with Steve Bannon on the War Room on America's Real Voice. Got you guys too and everything, with the smartphone that I'm talking to you on. But my God, I believe we're being sprayed because the lunacy. The Flag Day and what they had done with all the no kings. And then hearing Tucker Carlson on Bannon and then with Tom Cruise we're being sprayed because these people are flipping insane. They've gone wacko. Tucker Carlson, what happened? Guys, have a great day.
Okay, Kip. Tony in Downers Grove.
Well, Dan, I agree with you that maybe it's insignificant that Cruz didn't know some of the facts that Tucker was trying to embarrass him with. However, it just shows something Republicans always show. They're unprepared for a moment. He knew he was going on Tucker Carlson. He should have been prepared. It's that simple. You don't go there unarmed. You know what he's been doing. Just study up, be prepared. And so often,
I don't think
Republicans in a bright moment, they're not.
Yeah, but this is not unprepared. It was not germane. You know, it's like, thanks for the call, Tony, but if he had nothing to say about the geopolitics, the national security implications, the specificity of the threats presented by Iran, all of those dynamics, then I would agree with you. But to not have encyclopedic knowledge about population data, it's not germane.
No, it's
I mean, they might as well have said,
contentious from the beginning, and it's not comfortable, and I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, right. How many square miles is the city of Tehran?
Uh-oh. I thought 88 million people lived in Iran, by the way, instead of 92 million. No, I'm just like, I know, it's just the whole thing is so stupid.
Bill, Northwest Side.
Yeah, when your enemies tell you what they want to do, assume they're telling you the truth. They've been chanting death to America for 46 years now. So we have a choice to make. Do we believe them and stop them from doing that, or do we just ignore it? So it's really not that complicated.
Thanks for the call, Bill.
And remember 10 years ago, and J.D. Vance brought this to social media yesterday, 10 years ago when Trump came down the escalator, he mentioned Iran in his speech.
I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons, and we won't be using a man like Secretary Kerry that has absolutely no concept of negotiation, who's making a horrible and laughable deal, who's just being tapped along as they make weapons right now.
I mean, say what you want about Trump, but he can negotiate. So hopefully something will get done.
Say what you want about Trump's negotiation skills. Sometimes you can't negotiate. Sometimes you can't negotiate a deal. You have to impose one, at least when we're talking about war and peace and protecting America's national security interests and the geopolitical implications of appeasement versus action. Roger DeKalb.
Hey, yeah. Thank you. My next door neighbor for 27 years was an Iranian statistics professor, and his family left during the Shah. But Iran is not an Islamic country. They're led by Islamic thug leadership. Less than 10% of that country even backs it. The whole country would be glad to see all this change, but the whole Mideast, that's a 10,000-year history of how those countries are run. They're run by small minorities who use an iron fist, keep everybody under their thumb. That was Saddam Hussein. I'm still not sure that was a good thing to do to take him out because it just unleashed all that other terror. But Iran is a different story because their whole message is to destroy Israel and use nuclear weapons to do it. So I don't know. So have a good day.
Thanks for the call, Roger. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, the other thing that has been said is that in this moment, with the a weakened theocracy, the Shia theocracy that governs, lords over the Iranian people, does that provide a moment for an uprising and for the toppling of this theocratic dictatorship? Maybe, maybe not. Hard to say. I don't pretend to have great insight into the on-the-ground dynamics of and the prospects of a real revolt that would depose these mullahs, many of whom are in hiding and maybe fleeing, which exacerbates or really attenuates their grip on power and increases the possibility of regime change. But you can describe that without saying this is our purpose. The objective here is not regime change, in my estimation. The objective here is to permanently or semi-permanently, for the foreseeable future, end their nuclear program. That's the objective. Lee and Hammond.
Yeah, hi. Remember weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? Remember candidate Trump telling Jeb Bush that his brother made a mistake getting us involved in the Iraq war? If we're going to go into this thing and start dropping ordnance on Tehran or Iraq, I'm sorry, Iran, and more than likely killing civilians, you better be ready for the blowback on this, because we don't know what the reaction's going to be. We've already got a hot war going in Ukraine. China's on the move in the Pacific. They're allies of Iran. And if we're going to start monkeying around with this thing, you better be ready for the consequences if there's blowback on this. You better be right. So far, I haven't heard any evidence that they've got concrete proof Iran's weeks away from a nuclear weapon. Netanyahu was saying that 40 years ago. So now Trump is playing with fire. He better know what he's doing.
Yeah, thanks for the call. The Iraq WMD Iran comparison falls apart on any number of fronts. And as we discussed yesterday, the idea that because this has been reported for some time, not 40 years, but maybe 25 to 30, the Iranian nuclear program and this effort afoot, and say, well, they've just been saying it, excuse me, and it hasn't materialized, so it's not real. Well, that discounts all of the efforts that have been made to disrupt and slow down and Stuxnet virus, for example, and undermine the nuclear program all along the way over the past 3 decades, too. So you can't look at this in a myopic way. You have to take it all in, including, yes, trying to assess downsides, the unpredictability of war. But there's no reason that we would be targeting civilian populations. There obviously could be collateral damage. There already has been. But my understanding is that there's specific focus to do here what Israel doesn't have the weaponry to do with respect to that uranium enrichment site. And so it seems to me it would be pretty limited, and it could be done post haste. My view is that if Trump can help button this up in due course, then that's the play. But we'll discuss that more with Leah Leibowitz at 7:07.
Today it's going to be rainy, cloudy, cooler, a high of 77, but by this afternoon, heavy rain and thunderstorms, possibly some damaging wind and a tornado. It is now 7 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
Iran warns Israel and the U.S. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Supreme Leader, in a statement today, says Israel made a huge mistake attacking them and will be punished. And if the U.S. joins Israel, Ayatollah Khamenei says it'll undoubtedly result in irreparable damage for America.
Speculation's growing that President Donald Trump might help Israel destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. The Pentagon has also sent more warplanes to the region. Speaking to the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland, top Iranian diplomat Ali Bahraini warning his country would respond to direct U.S. involvement.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. The president's calling on Iran to surrender, but posted on Truth Social, patience is wearing thin. And Israel keeps up the attacks with more strikes today on nuclear and missile facilities.
Our mission is clear: to remove the threat at its source.
Israeli Army spokesman Effie Defrin, as Iran keeps firing back. Those are air raid sirens overnight in Tel Aviv.
People here in central Israel were sent scrambling for the bomb shelters as Iranian missiles flew in. There were 2 separate attacks just after midnight local time.
That's Fox's Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv. He reports most of the 30 missiles were shot down. The ones that got through did not cause any casualties.
Remarkable video from the sky over Jerusalem as an Iranian missile re-enters the atmosphere and burns like a comet. Also, with that missile, no reports of injuries.
There's no curfew anymore in Los Angeles. The mayor lifted it, citing less violence and destruction of the protesting against illegal immigration raids. An appeals court has heard a challenge to President Trump's National Guard troop deployment to deal with those protests. They're celebrating another championship in Florida after the Panthers won hockey's Stanley Cup again.
This is why we become parents, to enjoy the best things in life with our children. I love my kids. Go Panthers!
Florida repeated as champs, beating the Edmonton Oilers the second straight year, winning Game 6 last night 5-1. America's listening to Fox.
Good morning. It's 71 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Today is the last day in office for Chicago Public Schools CEO Pedro Martinez. Perry Williams reports.
Martinez will move on to a new job in Massachusetts as state education commissioner. He spoke yesterday to the media about his struggles with Mayor Brandon Johnson and the Chicago Teachers Union.
They all been together in cahoots. I've been bullied for a whole year.
And that's been publicly on the record. I've been personally attacked. Not only myself, my team has been personally attacked.
Last week, the school board named Macquillan King as interim CEO as the search continues for a permanent replacement.
And Mayor Johnson isn't backing down against threats that President Trump will target Chicago with militarized immigration enforcement. Mayor Johnson says Chicagoans have to go as far as necessary to protect the Constitution. The mayor says the city is going to continue to defend and stand up for working people, whether it's in the courts, in the streets, or with policy. Many people disagree with the mayor on this stance. Mayor Johnson noted he doesn't expect the federal government to give advance notice if they deploy troops in Chicago. A former executive of a Chicago hospital is charged in a massive COVID testing fraud scheme. Anash Ahmed was indicted in federal court on charges accusing him of taking part in a $290 million fraud scheme that used stolen patient data to bill nearly $1 billion worth of bogus COVID-19 tests during the peak of the pandemic. Ahmed was previously indicted in a related scheme to embezzle $15 million from the Loretto Hospital, where he served as COO and CFO. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Making smiles great again. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission: to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number: Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank. 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Quiet down, here she comes. Shh. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Where's America 60 years after the Civil Rights Act? Has equality of opportunity become a race hustle instead? As the culture wars play out in our schools, has the civil rights battleground shifted? In Illinois, inherently racist programs, scholarships, and comments are being challenged for violating the Civil Rights Act. How do we get to a post-racial America? Breakthrough Ideas is bringing great Americans together to help answer those questions. Join C.L. Bryant, award-winning filmmaker of Runaway Slave and Trump Advisory Board member, Black and White radio host John Anthony, and rooftop pastor Corey Brooks, founder of Project Hood, on Thursday, June 26th for the Breakthrough Ideas annual dinner. Join the conversation and buy a ticket to our annual dinner to support our work. At Breakthrough Ideas, we're unafraid to expose the lies and corruption of the ruling class in Illinois. We're here to inform, vote, voters and protect liberty. Visit breakthrough-ideas.com. Click on the events page to buy a ticket today. That's breakthrough-ideas.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Hi, my name's Neil. I have some advice for you if you've been trying to break free from credit card debt. You can start by doing what I did. Get your bills together and call Trinity Debt Management. Trinity is dedicated to helping people like me become debt-free. When I called, my first experience was a feeling of relief. My counselor was kind, and best of all, she didn't judge me. In just a few minutes, she helped me figure out a plan that consolidated all my bills into one lower monthly payment. This substantially reduced my high interest rates and put me on the road to success. In the end, I saved thousands in interest, and today, my credit card debt is a thing of the past.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Neil. Take it from someone who's been there. Call Trinity and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
Honey, we're not moving, but we gotta do something about this kitchen.
Funny you mention it. I just stopped by Forever Remodeling's new showroom in Niles. I saw over a dozen kitchen and bathroom layouts they designed. They even offered to stop by the house and give us a free in-home design consultation.
What'd you tell them?
That we're free today?
Visit foreverremodeling.com today. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com. Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 16 minutes. Outbound, 14 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 25 minutes. Outbound, 40 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 28 minutes. Outbound, 22 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 30 minutes. Outbound, about 19 minutes. On the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange, 18 minutes. Outbound, 11 minutes. Traffic is a service of Air Right Heating and Cooling, offering AM 560 listeners $56 off of any service, including inspections. Don't wait for a heat wave for that old air conditioner to break down. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now I check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, clouds and humid, heavy thunderstorm this afternoon. That could trigger damaging winds, maybe even an isolated tornado, high 77. Breezy this evening, partly cloudy, shower and thunderstorm, low 64. Partly sunny, less humid tomorrow, the high 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The losers and lunatics battling it out to lead the Democrats. Joel Kotkin writing over at Spiked Online. Joel Kotkin, the academic author of Neo-Feudalism, which was a good distillation of where the left was taking us until you had Trump interrupt us in November. And today's Democratic, and by the way, Kotkin, not a particularly big Trump fan, probably still consider him, I don't know if he would call himself a Democrat anymore. He probably has too much self-respect, but maybe he would say center left. He writes, in today's Democratic Party, nothing succeeds like failure. According to a recent poll tracker, the preferred candidates in the 2028 presidential election are a host of proven losers. Kamala Harris is the number one choice, followed by P. Butt, AOC, Cory Booker, and of course the slickest of all the failures, California Governor Gavin Newsom. By the way, that's where Kotkin resides. He knows it firsthand. Far less popular are candidates who might appeal beyond the party faithful. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, Kentucky Governor Andrew Beshear, Maryland's Wes Moore. They don't even break in. Long way to go, though, as I know he would admit. But what he's really getting to is what sort of even the non-political, you talk to people that are not particularly political, and they just cannot be on board with the performances of the most illiberal, most intemperate representatives of this neo-Marxist party. And the problem the neo-Marxist party has is those are the individuals sucking up all the oxygen. Those are the individuals that the cable news networks want to have on to say incendiary things, to try to gin up engagement. And frankly, what it does is repel a lot of people, too. I mean, like you had this yesterday, just this latest offering, getting to Kotkin's larger point. Brotherly Love Spice, Ilhan Omar, talking about what else? ICE and immigration enforcement, and saying this about
what America has become.
Yeah, her
third world country.
The country she's a citizen of.
Yeah,
by
but
choice.
You can go back, Toots.
To be coming out of our country. I mean, I grew up in a dictatorship. And I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets without any regard for people's constitutional rights, while our president is spending millions of dollars propping himself up like a failed dictator with a military parade. It is really shocking, and it should be a wake-up call for all Americans to say this is not the country we were born in. This is not the country we believe in. This is not the country our founding fathers imagined. And this is not the country that is supported by our Constitution, our ideals, our values. And we should all collectively be out in the streets rejecting what is taking place this week.
Noted constitutional scholar and American historian Ilhan Omar.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
Is there anything more hilarious than Ilhan Omar talking about the founders? I mean, it would be like me talking about soccer. I have no idea. No idea what goes on there.
But again, if she doesn't like it here, you could always go back.
Yeah,
she's not
whatever.
gonna go back. No, I know, because
like
the people that wave the Mexican flag that don't want to go back to Mexico.
So this is the 1-2 punch that they have, and you can play fantasy politics and switch out the couples, but it's a 1-2 punch. It's the moral indignation and the call to action. There's the left hook, and then the right cross is the pathological empathy as expressed in, a tearful story of trauma and victimhood, like the one Alex Padilla counted. He's really going to try to get as much mileage out of this little event he had at that Christine Ohm presser as he can. So Alex Padilla, the California senator, yeah, I know. Nobody else knew he was a senator either.
Who?
Talking about what happened the other day.
I was forced to the ground. First on my knees, and then flat on my chest. And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, why am I being detained? Not once did they tell me why. I pray you never have a moment like this. But I will tell you, in that moment, a lot of questions came to my mind. First of all, where are they taking me? Because I know I'm not just being escorted out of the building. Am I being arrested here? And what will a city already on edge from being militarized think when they see their United States senator being handcuffed just for trying to ask a question?
No, you weren't. Stop. Okay. Reporter, 30 plus years. I've been to countless news conferences or press conferences, whatever you want to call them. He stormed. She was talking. She was answering another reporter's question, and he just bum rushed her and started spouting. He wasn't even asking a question. He was just arguing. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
See it for what it is.
So this is a party that is spending $20 million to figure out how to appeal to young men. And that's what you're going to offer?
That's not a man.
Well, though, the 1-2 punch. You know, Ilhan Omar bitching at you, and then Alex Padilla bitching about himself.
And crying like a baby. I mean, is he mentally unstable? I don't know. I mean...
back to Kotkin, going through the litany of erstwhile aspirants to the presidency, mentioning our very own Jelly Belly Pritzker.
Oh.
Proudly calls Illinois America's most progressive state. It would be more accurate to call it America's worst governed. Yes, it would. Moody's gives Illinois the worst credit rating of any state. And Pritzker, has continued to expand government and raise taxes. Pritzker has presided over an exodus both of elite companies and residents in general. 51% of voters surveyed said they would leave the state if they could, with most citing high taxes as the reason. That's old data, but if you remember that poll, that was the highest percentage of residents saying they would flee their home state of any state in the nation by a wide margin. And that's wrapping up the field. Kotkin summarizes, the Democrats need to find some success stories and show they can govern, not just lash out at Trump. Yet the importance of good governance seems foreign to most national Democrats. The blue states are failing economically, overrun with crime, and driving people away. Until they show some signs of competence, Democrats have limited prospects of beating Trump, J.D. Vance, or whichever MAGA figurehead challenges them for the White House. Yeah. Long way to go. Nobody's spiking the football, and it's more than just about 2028. Holding the House and Senate in 2026 is the first order of business. But it's a good summary of the landscape the neo-Marxist party has charted for itself. And those examples of Omar and Padilla. And, as I said, you can change in and out. You could bring in Mayor Pete and AOC and do the same routine that Omar and Padilla were doing uncoordinated. But it turns out to be somewhat coordinated because this is what they have to offer. It's more than just the lashing out at Trump. It's how they do it. And it just doesn't have the same freshness it did in 2016. And I think the other thing you'll see, as you've started to see since 2018, is that real bump up in participation from the left, real increase in registered voters and turnout and vote totals. We saw it here in Illinois, big spike. It started to slide since 2018, and I think it's going to continue to slide, particularly for them.
Oh, this is a good text message. Dan and Amy, the scenes of ICE arresting illegals and violent protesters wasn't getting enough mileage. So now I believe the politicians are hoping that scenes of themselves being detained will do the trick.
Oh, I don't know that it's not about it's another tactic. Yes, it's a tactic that's supposed to have broad appeal. If they'll do this to me, they're trying to do what Trump did. They're really coming after you. They're just going through me to get to you. I'm standing in their way.
Oh, brilliant.
That's what they're trying to do, but it's ham-handed because it's inauthentic. And what they're actually doing, while this is like what they think they're doing, what they're actually doing is just perhaps, because I don't think it's obvious, depending on how they do it, perhaps they're scoring some points for themselves within their narrow constituencies in the city of New York or in MacGyver's district in New Jersey. That'll energize their base vote, but that's it.
And it's so sad. This is an ancillary issue, but from watching The View yesterday, Arnold Schwarzenegger was so grateful to be an American. And he talked so eloquently about coming to this country. He had nothing. He got here when he was 21. He was able to develop a bodybuilding career only in America. Then I was able to become an actor. And I'm not an actor. And then I became governor. And then I produced this beautiful family, his children. And he was so grateful. Then you turn on, then this little snotty nose, what, is up there saying, we're the worst country. We're going to be the worst country in the world.
And then I was fortunate enough to have an affair with that fullback housekeeper of mine. And then Maria left. But anyway, I digress.
Don't let the details get in the way of a very beautiful story of coming to America.
Yeah.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Wow. At the time of this being written, both gold and silver are up some 40%. That's 40% in just 1 year. In fact, this past year, gold has broken all-time historic records by hundreds of dollars an ounce. And unlike all other financial instruments used today, that historic record goes back thousands of years. In times like these, prices have never been better on most collector and gold coins. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is trying to keep up with demand. So they're paying the most ever on not only most gold coins and bars, but also those old coin and paper money collections. They're especially looking for the scarcer dates and higher grade coins. Take advantage of the record high market price and our huge demand now, whether you're buying or selling, or just want to find out their worth. Fox Valley Coins is the place to go. Fox Valley Coins is on Route 59, just 1 light north of I-88 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Robert Anderson, president of McLaughlin Body Company in the Quad Cities, and a customer of Signature Bank. When our 100-year-old family-owned manufacturing company was looking for a new bank, we found an excellent partner with Signature Bank. Signature Bank understands the challenges with manufacturing in today's highly competitive environment. We recently participated in the New Markets Tax Credit Program, and we're fortunate to have the experts at Signature Bank help us navigate the complexities of this program. With Signature Bank's support, we were able to expand not only our facility, but ultimately our business. If you're looking for a trusted banking partner for your business, look to Chicago's own Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, the big focus in America is your health, and you're determined to look beyond pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? Well, I want to talk to the person who is in pain right now. Yes, I'm talking to you. Or maybe it's someone you know and love. You've done everything that they've told you to do, but the pain just keeps coming back. You're exhausted, but don't give up. QC Kinetics is the answer, folks. QC Kinetics is different. These are not quick fixes. It's a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. Now, you'll meet with medical director Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her team, and they'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and helps restore damaged tissue. Think about it. When you get a cut, eventually it heals, even a paper cut. So they've helped tens of thousands of people, no masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Here's what you do. Call our good friends at QC Kinetics. Consultation is free, and they'll decide whether or not if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics, regenerative medicine. The number to call to set up your appointment during the week or on Saturdays is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Your business is under attack 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a fact. Small businesses are the low-hanging fruit. You may think you're protected, but you're vulnerable in many ways, and cyber attackers actively prey on small businesses. But Turnkey can protect you. Turnkey is the key to cyber protection. Turnkey has a quick and efficient 12-point evaluation to determine if your business, your profits, are at risk. And right now, for a limited time, Turnkey is offering the first month of service to all new customers free. Peace of mind, free. It includes all Microsoft licensing, antivirus, anti-malware, and completed data backup both on-site and off-site, plus help desk support. Don't leave you, your employees, and your customers vulnerable. Talk to Turnkey. Visit turnkey.pro. 3 decades of experience. That's turnkey.pro. Turnkey, the champion of small business.
I absolutely love my Goldilocks state-of-the-art smart home security system. From here on my phone, I could adjust my thermostat. I could see who's on the front porch. I could talk to the people on my front porch. Get off my lawn. No, I haven't done that yet, but it's good to know that that's an option. And with Goldilocks, they have real-time monitoring. So if anything happens, they will notify the police right away. Goldilocks has given my family much needed peace of mind. I can't believe I've lived all these years without it. They also offer commercial security systems for any size business, like-minded people. So give them the business, help them out. Goldilocks has hundreds of 5-star Google reviews and has served Chicagoland since 1981. Now tell them Amy Jacobson sent you, and guess what? Goldilocks will include 3 months of monitoring for free with any new install. Call them today, 708-889-5600, 708-889-5600. Again, that's 708-889-5600, or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560, The Answer. AM 560, The Answer.
Are you wearing that to the tournament today?
Yeah. I don't have a costume change.
I have 2 costumes. I've been wearing the same outfit to our golf tournaments for 10 years. So I went to the PGA store yesterday and bought myself a little number. But you know what?
PGA Superstore?
Yeah, I love those. There's one in Lincoln Park. But if it rains, I'm not going to get all dolled up. I'm just letting you know, okay?
Yeah. For the group that's playing with Amy, my friend Chris Morrow and company, just a little bit of a warning. Here's how it went last year with Amy and her group.
So what do I do? Just aim for the pond?
No, you're not supposed to hit it into the water.
But you hit it into the water.
I know I hit it into the water.
Well, why do they even have water if you're not supposed to hit it there?
Because it's fun! We're having fun!
Look, it went further than your ball.
So it should be a nice afternoon. Coming up at 7:37, we'll get economist Stephen Moore's perspective on the Senate version of the big, beautiful bill, 7:37.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 71 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The U.S. is warning Americans about going to the Middle East.
The warning comes after a Fox News report that the White House is now considering an offensive strike against Iran.
Not to travel to Israel or Iraq, and not to travel to Iran under any circumstances.
State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said the Israel-Iran conflict is a rapidly evolving situation. Bruce said the State Department has set up a task force to help U.S. citizens in the Middle East stay informed. She again reiterated that President Trump has said time and time again Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I'm Mark Mayfield.
President Trump is indicating that he'll likely extend the deadline for TikTok to be sold yet again. The popular video sharing app currently faces the possibility of being banned in the U.S. if its China-based owner ByteDance doesn't sell it by Thursday. When asked Tuesday if it will extend the deadline, Trump said, yeah, probably. He says, yeah, probably we'll have to get China's approval, but I think we'll get it. I think President Xi will ultimately approve it. This will be the third time that Trump has extended the deadline. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Hugh Hewitt talks tariffs.
Now, I think the best argument for the 10% global tariff is that the United States, in effect, guarantees freedoms of the sea and international law to the extent that it is everywhere applied. We do the most of the heavy lift. we keep the peace. We're the marshal. And it's very expensive, and no one sends us a check.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers with back taxes to the IRS. Billions in tax relief is now being made available to struggling taxpayers, giving thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in savings away to those who qualify. If you're facing wage garnishment, threatening letters, audits, liens, levies, or already in a payment plan, you can now expedite the resolution to your tax problem, end collections, and even qualify to reduce a large portion of what you owe. Stop IRS Debt has established a relief hotline for you to call to check what savings and options you qualify for. Dial 800-420-1557. With many people facing job loss and rising cost of living, these special IRS initiatives are designed to aid delinquent taxpayers with the relief that they need to get a fresh start. For a free consultation to see what savings you qualify for, call 800-420-1557. 800-420-1557. 800-420-1557.
Honey, we're not moving, but we gotta do something about this kitchen.
Funny you mention it. I just stopped by Forever Remodeling's new showroom in Niles. I saw over a dozen kitchen and bathroom layouts they designed. They even offered to stop by the house and give us a free in-home design consultation.
What'd you tell them?
That we're free today?
Visit foreverremodeling.com today. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com. Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling.
Hey, heard you're getting ready to move.
We just listed our house on the market.
Just make sure you have the right attorney.
Doesn't the real estate agent take care of all that?
They stay involved, but you want to make sure you have a great lawyer that's negotiating the terms, helping resolve inspection items, clearing up title issues, preparing the deed and other documents, and attending the closing.
The attorneys at Nauman & Associates in Elk Grove Village have decades of experience handling real estate transactions every day all over Chicagoland. NALawGroup.com.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 16 minutes. Outbound, 14 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 25 minutes. Outbound, 40 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 28 minutes. Outbound, 22 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 30 minutes. Outbound, about 19 minutes. On the Dan Bryan inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange, 18 minutes. Outbound, 11 minutes. This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Shop Mattress Firm's July 4th sale and reclaim your sleepless nights. Choose from a curated, premium selection of mattresses to find just the upgrade you're looking for. Get matched. Sleep at night. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now I check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Clouds a bit cooler, still humid though. Heavy thunderstorm this afternoon. That could kick off an isolated tornado, high 77. Breezy this evening, otherwise partly cloudy. Shower and thunderstorm tonight, low 64. Partly sunny tomorrow, the high 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the Senate's version of the BBB has emerged. Some of the goods makes the 2017 Trump tax cuts permanent, of course, integral, including capital expensing provisions, school choice tax credits, and the opportunity zones. And the school choice tax credits, I just want to mention that again. The school choice program that would be created, and it's in both versions, the House and Senate, $5 billion federal opportunity scholarship program, allow people in all 50 states to donate to scholarship granting organizations, receive 100% dollar-for-dollar tax credit for their contributions, contributing up to 10% of your adjusted gross income up to a maximum of $5,000. So, as much as we've struggled in the discussion about reducing the size and scope of spend of government, this is one really positive area, more than just in terms of reducing the spend on the centrally planned spend on K through 12. But how do you change any system? Change how the money flows and who gets to make spending decisions. And this does both. And $5 billion is nothing to sneeze at, particularly if you're in a state like Illinois that couldn't see its way to maintain the school choice program. Be a lot of competition for it, but it's a good start. It's important. The unfortunate provisions, what is and is not in it. No cut in corporate tax rate. That's a mistake.
Taxes on tips, isn't it up to $25,000?
The good, well, it depends on your perspective. It caps the no tax at $25,000 and the no tax on overtime at $12,500. Depends on your perspective whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. But in other words, some people no cap, some people there shouldn't be a carve out. So it's a discussion point. No HSA expansions. No 15% business tax on made in the USA products. And still extends many of the Green New Deal energy giveaways that were featured in the previous administration, because pork is pork, including to many Republicans, unfortunately. Here was what one neo-Marxist senator, Ron Wyden, who bears an amazing resemblance to Super Dave Osborne.
Really?
Neo-Marxist from Oregon, Ron Wyden, had this to say.
This bill that my colleagues are talking about is a textbook case of class warfare. It is, in effect, caviar over kids and Mar-a-Lago over the middle class.
I wonder how many staffers it took to come up with that line.
That's a good one. Mar-a-Lago over middle class. Let's get something with M's and pretend that we're Reverend Jackson. Okay.
By the way, I think a lot of people say, "Oh, you mean Funkhauser from Curb Your Enthusiasm? He'll always be Super Dave Osborne to me." Okay. Steve Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, co-authored with Art Laffer. Steve joins us now. Hey, Steve.
Good morning, guys. I think you did a good summary of the bill, Dan. I would simply say, though, you kind of buried the lead. It's a good bill overall.
Yeah.
It's better than the House bill, and I like it. And you were quite correct in the flaws. I don't like the fact that they went soft on getting rid of these stupid Green New Deal subsidies. We've been subsidizing this stuff for 40 years, as long as the three of us have been alive. And yet they always say, it's just going to be 2 or 3 or 4 more years. Back in the late 70s, wind and solar subsidies. These are infant industries. We'll just help them for a little while. And here we are 40 years ago later, and they're still doing it. So I think that's an unfortunate element of the bill. But overall, it does a lot of good things. I want to stress that one point you made, Dan, about these what do they call them? 527. What are those college programs?
The scholarship granting organizations, for the school choice programs.
The money that people put in 527s. What are those? Where you put money aside and you get tax free and you get to use it for college.
Yeah,
I think it's called a 527. Yeah. Anyway, so I just wanted to amplify what you were saying. So under this bill, one very good feature is that you can actually use that money instead of, for college, you can use it for, if you've got a 7th grader and they want them to go to a good school, you can use it for the tuition for a private school. The last place in the world we should be sending the money is to colleges. They have plenty of money. Oh. It should be for, kids in, grade school and high school who want an alternative to, especially in a place like Chicago where you have the most rotten public schools in the country.
Yeah.
Why not give that to parents? So I love that idea. I think it's fantastic.
I agree with that, too. Bad news for many wealthy Illinoisans, the SALT cap in the Senate bill stays at 10,000 as opposed to the 40,000 bump it got bumped to in the House version.
Yeah, I know very, very, very wealthy people like Amy are not going to be happy.
I don't have to worry about that. But Pritzker, other people, I mean, I remember when this was an issue with Trump and when Biden got into office, they thought they'd get the goods back and they didn't. So this was their other chance, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. So, by the way, I just want to stress something. 85 to 90% of people in the state of Illinois who file a tax return will be getting a tax cut. So the idea...
But I'm worried about rich white leftists seeing their taxes go up. Yeah.
Exactly. There aren't that many rich people left in the state because they've all gone to Florida.
Well, they're smart, like Dan, and moved out.
So I think that it is a good. Look, there is no reason that people should be able to deduct their state and local taxes off their tax returns. I mean, that's all you're doing is encouraging states and localities to raise their taxes. It's one of the reasons, Illinois is such a high tax state because the feds pick up a share of it. So we want to get rid of that subsidy, and we're going to do it. And that's a very, very good thing for the country. And by the way, if you don't like it, take up your beef with people of Springfield. They're the ones who are making Illinois the fourth highest tax state in the country. So I'm glad that they lowered that deduction to $10,000. I'd like to get rid of it entirely. But that's going to set up a big fight, Dan and Amy, because now you've got these 5 Republicans in the House who say, well, we're not going to vote for this bill because we're from New Jersey and New York, and we have high taxes here. So that's going to bring a big fight on.
Because what about the national debt? I mean, the debt ceiling, Trump wants to abolish that, but in the House's version, it's $2.8 trillion, and it's a little bit more with the Senate version. Do you think people care about that?
Look, I mean, we should care about the debt. Yeah, absolutely. It's a disgrace to our country that we are $37 trillion in debt. We're going to have to deal with the spending problem in the next bill. This is about cutting taxes and making it for a good tax system. But, I'm with Ron Johnson and Rand Paul that we should be cutting a lot more spending. We can't even get these guys to get rid of the fraud. They won't even cut people who are, the liberals saying, how dare you cut off people who are fraudulently getting Medicaid and food stamps? That's mean. That's cruel.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I saw the Council of Economic Advisors put out new research that federal taxpayers, American taxpayers, spent about $561 billion on Medicaid for working-age childless adults working less than 20 hours a week. And Rick Scott responded to it. Not many other senators have. What did there, despite Josh Hawley's objections, is there any improvement in the Senate version on Medicaid for people Medicaid wasn't intended to serve?
A little bit better, but even this is just, a little Band-Aid on a cancer patient. I mean, you've got $160 billion of fraudulent payments a year in Medicaid. And by the way, overall, in terms of all the, the welfare programs, the number is $522 billion a year. That's the number that we got from the government's own auditors. So it's a disgrace that they can't even get people off Medicaid who aren't even eligible for the program. But that's where we're at. So overall, I think it's good, though. I just want to make sure people know this is a good bill. It's not a great bill, but it's a good bill. I give it a B. And we got to get it passed. And if all these Democrats, like your good friend Ron Wyden, want a $4 trillion tax increase next year, then and incidentally, every single Democrat in the Congress, every single one of them, and you got a lot from them. How many Democrats do you have in Congress from Illinois? Probably
15 of our 18 members,
something like that. Every one of them voted for a $4 trillion tax increase.
Well, they voted for kids instead of caviar for Steve Moore.
MAGA over medium income, middle class, I mean.
There's some other good news, too. I saw this. Scott Besson tweeted this out. 2% real wages for hourly workers up 2% in the first 5 months of Trump's second term. That's the strongest growth in 60 years. So that people are feeling better and getting some tax relief on top of wage growth. That's a good combination.
Yeah, no, the economy's good right now. There's no doubt about it. Remember 2 months ago when I was on your show, I was on the ledge and you had to walk me down because I was ready to jump off. I mean, the stock market had collapsed. And a lot of this, frankly, is because the tariff wars have calmed down a lot, and Trump has gotten a lot more reasonable. He's getting some pretty good trade deals. I'm not a big tariff guy, as you guys know, so I wasn't a big fan of that. But it's turning out pretty good. I mean, Trump has got he signed the deal with the UK. We're going to get a deal with India. Lord knows what's going to happen with China, whether you can trust them. But apparently they've got a deal underway with them. So as soon as it's amazing, every time Trump stops talking about tariffs, the economy booms. Every time he announces a new tariff, the stock market, the economy goes down. So maybe we should just stop talking about tariffs.
Well, I mean, but you can't stop talking about them until you get these trade deals that everyone is waiting for with bated breath, particularly as it pertains to Europe and most importantly China, right?
Yeah, but my point is that with China, I mean, Trump is touting the fact that he has a trade deal with China in the works, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's what we used to say about the Soviet Union, and then they would sign anything, but then they would completely violate the terms of the agreement. So you remember what Reagan used to say: trust but verify.
Yeah.
If we sign something with China, we better make sure they're living up to the deal, because they do lie, they do cheat, they do steal, and it is not a level playing field. So if you get that thing done with China, I think it will calm a lot of the jitters that we saw in the market. But overall, I'm going to give this economy a B+. I think it's doing very well, and I think Scott Bessent's doing an amazing job. And you get this tax cut bill done, I think you're going to see a big boom in the market.
Okay, on that happy note, Steve Moore, economist and author of
bank, guys.
What's that?
And you can take that to the bank, and happy Juneteenth. Is Juneteenth really a federal holiday?
It is a federal holiday. Yeah.
It's tomorrow. Today's June 18th.
Yes, yes.
I thank you in advance.
Make sure to fly your flag. Steve Moore, thank you.
Yeah. I'll be working tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
Hello, my name is Dr. Michael Huber, co-developer of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Did you know that the 23 natural ingredients in Virago are not only an immune enhancer, but also support and protect your heart, lungs, brain, and kidneys? These organs are negatively affected by numerous diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, and chronic inflammation. The natural ingredients in Virago, such as luteolin and fisetin, protect and improve the cognitive function in your brain. The uracilic acid in Virago protects and improves kidney functions, whereas quercetin protects and improves heart function. These are just a few of the natural ingredients that provide a synergistic effect. Virago, inspiring healthy choices.
Boost your immune system with Virago. Order your bottle of Virago today. Order online at myvirago.com and use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
Reliability isn't optional when business security is on the line. It's essential. Businesses trust alarm detection systems for the highest level of service and expertise. Think about the time you could save using one source for cameras, keycard access, fire, and intrusion systems. ADS offers expert alarm installation and testing by highly trained technicians, 24/7 professional monitoring, same-day or next-day service upon request because downtime isn't an option, dedicated teams for cameras, access control, and fire alarms, more than 300 security professionals working for you. Choosing ADS means your business stays protected and will be ready to open tomorrow. They combine human monitoring with the latest AI camera technology to prevent crime in real time. Trusted by small and large businesses, including many Chicagoland schools, the security experts will review your system for free if you go to adsalarm.com and schedule your appointment today. That's adsalarm.com. Alarm detection systems, the first choice of Chicagoland businesses, including right here at AM 560 The Answer in Salem Media, Chicago. Alarm detection systems, adsalarm.com. Alarm license 127000143.
Everybody seems to be more health conscious these days, worrying about their weight, what they eat, what they put into their bodies. And if you're in pain, taking pills to mask the pain is not the answer. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. Please listen up. There is hope to end your chronic pain due to arthritis or an injury, and that's QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is different. These are not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You will meet medical director Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your own body's healing power and helps restore damaged tissue. So say goodbye to chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a candidate. The consultation is free with appointments on weekdays and Saturdays. Contact my good friends at QC Kinetics. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
Wondering what future path your child or grandchild could take? While college is great for some, it's not the only way to build a successful, meaningful life. Skilled trades are in high demand and are full of gratifying opportunities. And getting there is less costly than college through apprenticeships and trade schools. So if your child likes working with their hands, consider the opportunities in construction, where thousands of positions are waiting to be filled. With trade schools and apprenticeship programs, you earn while you learn, providing hands-on experience, technical training, and a paycheck at the same time. Imagine no student loan debt, just a direct path to a rewarding career. Plus, skilled trades offer competitive salaries, often higher than some college grads, along with union benefits like health insurance and pensions. Steve Jobs said, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do." So if your child loves working with their hands, help them explore this incredible path. Construction could be their gateway to success. Learn more at the Contractors Association of Will and Grundy County's website, cawgc.org.
Hi, it's Scott Tucker, host of Retirement Dakota with Scott Tucker, heard on AM 560 on Sundays at 8 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. I want to offer you a free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? To get your free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Just go to retirementdakota.com. That's retirementdakota.com. And please listen every Sunday at 8 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560, The Answer. AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. If I'm being self-accountable and reflective, doing a little examination.
Oh, boy.
One of the reasons I'm single is I'm not the exciting bon vivants that, you've dated. The raconteurs and the competitive eating.
Mario Lopez. I mean, why do you forget Mario Lopez?
Competitive eating space. I was going to say Hollywood actors from Mario Lopez to Edward James Olmos. I mean,
forget that
the age
name.
range is incredible. Really incredible.
I'm not an ageist.
Clearly. No.
Yeah. So what do you got?
Yeah, Bill Belichick not available for you, unfortunately, at the moment.
Did you see him on that Airbnb camera in that video from his Airbnb stint? Looked like he just got busy with his girlfriend, and he's out on the front porch with his shirt off. And I think that men like that should keep their shirts on. You know what I mean?
That took you 6 months to come up with that comment?
No.
That
it was
happened
just
a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Maybe I saw something.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I don't know. Those two young cats, they just are crazy. They do fun stuff,
Well, anyway, I'm dull, and I found my tribe. This is cool. I'm really glad I happened upon this. And I only would have found this by, being a dull guy who watches reruns of Frasier and reads a lot. The Dull Men's Club.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. The Dan Prof Club? Wait, what did you call it?
Yeah,
the Dull Man's
Several million members.
They really?
On my tribe. And a number of connected Facebook groups strive to cause dullness in others on a daily basis. They share their dullness. It's a gift. It's a place for quirky hobbies, obscure interests, the examination of small, ordinary things. It's a place to celebrate the mundane, the quotidian, and to use words like quotidian. It is a gentle antidote to pouting influencers and the toxic internet. A bastion of civility.
Yeah.
A polite clarion call to reclaim the ordinary. Above all, it is whimsical, deeply ironic, self-effacing, and sarcastic humor. And if you enjoyed those three sentences, then you should join me in the Dull Men's Club. And by the way, the important part of that...
Is there an initiation fee? Oh, sorry.
I don't think so. But the important part of this,
yes,
the Dull Men's Club.
Oh, so, well, man, what if I identify as a dull man?
Yeah.
Maybe I could get in.
Yeah. For example, one of the things that the Dull Men's Club, I guess this is in New York. This is where it all started.
Uh-huh.
And here's the Genesis story.
Uh-oh. What is it?
Well, I mean, if I'm going to bore you,
No, I want to actually...
bore the ears off you. You want to hear the origin story. I mean, just, it's keeping with the club.
Uh-huh.
A bunch of friends sitting at a long bar of the New York Athletic Club in the 80s, reading magazine articles about boxing, fencing, judo, and wrestling. One of the guys said, dude, we don't do any of those things. We just read about them. They had to face it. They were dull, and they decided to embrace it. They started the Dull Men's Club, which involved activities like they chartered a tour bus but didn't go anywhere. We toured the bus. We walked around the outside of the bus a few times. The driver explained the tire pressures and turned on the windshield wipers. That's the kind of things they do.
They just toured the tour bus, and that was an outing.
There's you politely engage, and it's not politics according to this, which is a bit problematic.
I find that hard to believe.
But they debate things like over or under with toilet paper on the roll.
Oh, I'm always an under, and I actually go into bathrooms and change it for them.
That
to my liking, by the way.
That debate lasted 2.5 weeks in the Dull Men's Club. Yeah.
You probably don't even think about stuff like that.
Photograph post office boxes and then, share the shutterbugs because if you're dull, you're more likely than not to be a shutterbug. They also do things like rake every animated movie from 1 to 100. I could do that.
Animated movies?
I could do that. Any genre, but I mean, I wouldn't choose animated first, but I'd love to engage in that type of activity with colleagues. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, just Dull Men's Club. I'm going to start a Southwest Florida chapter. So if anybody's interested, just, watch me on social media before I check out and just focus all my energy on the Dull Men's Club activities.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Speaking of the Contra example, the not dull, Gary Sinise.
Lieutenant Dan.
We'll talk about Rockin' for the Vets at 8:08.
It is now 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Israel made a huge mistake. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is what Iran's Ayatollah is saying today, warning that Israel will be punished. And
Iran's supreme leader sent a message over Iranian TV. He refused President Trump's demand for unconditional surrender and threatened irreparable consequences if the U.S. gets directly involved.
This after Israel attacked Iran again today, hitting nuclear and missile facilities and launchers as President Trump considers joining Israel, destroying Iran's capability to build nuclear weapons. Fox's Mike Tobin also reports from Tel Aviv.
Team of people here in central Israel were sent running for the bomb shelters in the middle of the night with more Iranian ballistic missile attacks. Two attacks came just after midnight local time. The IDF says that several missiles did get through, resulting in damage but no injury.
And as the president considers helping Israel and Iran, some in Congress believe that he has to wait for their authority.
Democratic Senator Tim Kaine insists that Congress must vote. The Constitution mandates that lawmakers decide if the nation goes to war.
How dare we ask people to make the ultimate sacrifice if we don't have the guts to have a debate and decide whether a war is in the interest of this country?
Some conservatives are skeptical of the president wading into a deeper conflict, but most Republicans give deference to President Trump, allowing him to act.
That's Fox's Chad Pergam at the Capitol. In the Senate next hour, the first Republican-led hearing into President Biden's mental fitness while in office and if his administration covered up a cognitive decline. Senate Republicans have made some changes to the House-passed Big Beautiful Bill that funds President Trump's agenda, including extending tax cuts set to expire. But some House Republicans don't like the changes. Congressman Mike Lawler tells Fox Business he cannot support undoing the increase in the House version to state and local tax deductions for taxpayers.
This is an important component to the deal, and my colleagues, whether they like it or not, have to accept it.
He says if the increase is removed, he'll vote against the whole bill. America's listening to...
Good morning. It's 74 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Mayor Johnson isn't backing down against threats that President Trump will target his city with militarized immigration enforcement. Mayor Johnson says Chicagoans, quote, have to go as far as necessary to protect the Constitution.
Whether it's in the courts, whether it's in the streets, or it's with policy, we're going to continue to defend and stand up for working people.
Johnson noted he doesn't expect the federal government to give advance notice if they deploy troops in Chicago. Today is the last day in office for Chicago Public Schools CEO Pedro Martinez. He will move on to a new job in Massachusetts as state education commissioner. Martinez spoke earlier this week to the media about his struggles with Mayor Johnson and the Chicago Teachers Union. He said that City Hall and the CTU have bullied him and his staff. He added that Mayor Johnson asked him to step down after he refused to loan a high-interest loan to cover a budget shortfall. And the Chicago Park District's public pools are scheduled to open this weekend. All 50 outdoor and 27 indoor pools will be ready for swimmers on Saturday. Each one will have a lifeguard on duty. The pools will remain open until Labor Day. And a teen is dead following a shooting on the south side. Police say the 18-year-old was found shot inside a vehicle yesterday in the 2800 block of East 93rd Street. The victim has been identified as Johnny Jackson Jr. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. No arrests have been made so far. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants with medical PPO insurance? It's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but now time for the Signature Bank Business Beat.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The Federal Reserve is not expected to lower interest rates at its meeting, which wraps up today. Another major food producer is eliminating artificial colors from its products. General Mills, maker of Cheerios, Betty Crocker, Bisquick, Pillsbury, and other brands, says 85% of its products already don't include artificial colors. Synthetic dyes will be removed from the rest of its foods by the end of 2027. Kraft Heinz is also eliminating artificial colors from its foods, though 90% of its products already also don't include them. Big bank UBS says its supplier Chain IQ is the victim of a cyber attack. No client data has been affected, and it responded swiftly, though some information about the bank was stolen. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola. Invested in you.
Charlie Kirk believes ignorance is part of the problem.
He yelled, "Free Palestine." This is a pattern, and it's only continuing. What is driving this? Well, first of all, and this just needs to be said, the misunderstanding of what is actually happening between Israel and Hamas drives people to do insane stuff.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 11, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-236-2277. That's 800-236-2277. Once again, that's 800-236-2277.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Quiet down. Here she comes. Shh. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
For centuries, gold and silver have protected wealth through war, recession, inflation, and economic upheaval. At Advantage Gold, we specialize in helping you move your IRA or eligible 401k into physical gold or silver, tax-free and penalty-free. When you call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000, for a limited time, you could receive up to $10,000 in precious metals when you open your qualified gold IRA with Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial and tax professionals before making investment decisions. Call 800-900-8000.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
I'm an artist and I'm in my studio. I listen to the radio all day and I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor. And I've got pain in my neck and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, I've got much better range of motion. If you're experiencing pain at a certain point in life, I would get Relief Factor.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 17 minutes. Outbound, 17 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Byrne Interchange, 34 minutes. Outbound, about 38 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 36 minutes. Outbound, 29 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 38 minutes. Outbound is about 21 minutes. On the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Byrne Interchange, 23 minutes. Traffic is a service of Anthony DeGrotto, your Chicagoland State Farm agent. His team will work to provide the best service you expect at the price you want. Like a good neighbor, Anthony DeGrotto State Farm is there. DeGrottoSF.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, clouds and humid, heavy thunderstorm this afternoon. That could trigger damaging winds, maybe even an isolated tornado, high 77. Breeze this evening, partly cloudy, shower and thunderstorm, low 64. Partly sunny, less humid tomorrow, the high 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. All right, this will be fun. One of Chicagoland's native sons, boy made good in Hollywood and on the small stage with co-founder of Steppenwolf Theater. That's overlooked, an important component of the theater scene in Chicago still today. I wish they do more Sam Shepard and David Mamet and less some of the nihilist stuff, but I digress.
Oh, no, let's dive into that right away.
Yeah. More importantly than his storied acting career is his activism in support of veterans, disabled veterans. And Gary Sinise, actor, director, bass player, founder of the Gary Sinise Foundation, author of A Grateful American, A Journey from Self to Service, and featured Gary Sinise and the Lieutenant Dan Band Saturday, July 12th at Cantini in Wheaton. Doors open at 2 o'clock. Opening band, Stolen Silver, that's 6 o'clock, and then Gary and his Lieutenant Dan Band start an hour later. This is Rockin' for Our Vets, a patriotic night that changes lives. The money raised will be used to serve and support those who served our country honorably and heroically, disabled veterans and their families. And Gary can give us more of the details on the good work that he and so many others are doing. Gary Sinise, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be with you.
So, tell us the origin story of your service in support of military men and women.
Oh, gosh. Goes back years. Many veterans of my family, so it kind of starts there. And back in the 80s, because of the Vietnam veterans on my wife's side of the family, I started supporting local Chicago Vietnam veterans. One of the things we did at Steppenwolf back in 1984, I was, I'd gotten to know my wife's brothers pretty well. And, I felt a lot of compassion for them, for our Vietnam veterans when they came home from war, and how they were treated and everything. So I started supporting them in different ways. And one of the things I wanted to do as artistic director of Steppenwolf was to find a play that would speak to the Vietnam veteran experience. And I found a play that was written by a group of Vietnam veterans. And it had been performed by them in Los Angeles, and I went and saw it, and I got the rights to it, ended up doing it on stage at Steppenwolf, and we ended up having hundreds and hundreds of veterans coming to see the show, and that started me supporting local Vietnam veterans groups there. That's certainly a key component of, setting the stage for what would happen later on. I played Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump, and he was a Vietnam veteran. I started supporting our wounded veterans, and then September 11th changed everything. And, I was working in New York doing a play for Steppenwolf, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It closed July 29th, 2001, 6 weeks later, the attack on our country. And that was the last play I did. I just really started turning full on towards service and supporting the men and women who were deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan. And that snowballed into the creation of a full-time foundation now that we're just about to enter our 15th year, the Gary Sinise Foundation.
And how many people have you helped, and how do you help them?
Oh, that's, I think it's impossible to know. We've built 96 specially adapted smart technology mortgage-free homes for very, very badly wounded service members. We just gave away our 96th home. We're going to give away our 100th home in about 3 or 4 months. So we've been doing all that. That's our RISE program. It stands for Restoring Independence, Supporting Empowerment. But there are countless people being served at the Gary Sinise Foundation because we have multiple programs across many, many spaces, including our first responders. Back after September 11th, I started supporting New York's fire department and police departments and people that were affected by the attacks on our country, and that led to the creation of a first responder outreach program at the Gary Sinise Foundation. So that's a very vigorous, well-funded program. We supply grants all over the country and support for first responders, things that they might need and ways that we can support them. My band goes out, and, I've played almost 600 shows for the military in the last 20 years. And much of that, since the creation of the Gary Sinise Foundation, that has been funded through the Gary Sinise Foundation. I can call up a military base that's in need of some support, and I can offer a concert. And I'm going out this weekend. We're going to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, and then we're going to Camp Atterbury in Indiana this weekend. Last weekend we were at Fort Riley, and really looking forward to next month, where we're going to be in Rockaway, Breezy Point, for a big veteran support event on July 11th, and then July 12th, right there at Cantini Park, where, gosh, years ago, for about 10 years in a row, I was doing something called Rockin' for the Troops out there. And it was a big, big concert. Lots of people came out. We hope lots of people come out for this one because it's been a while since we played there. And I'm very much looking forward to coming and rocking for the vets.
How many events do you do on sort of an annualized basis, ballpark, with the band and with the concerts?
We do 25 to 30 concerts a year, kind of on average. There were times years ago when I was doing 40 to 50 shows a year while I was shooting a television series. It was insane.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you balance your advocacy work with your acting pursuits?
Yeah, well, these days I'm focused primarily on the service mission. And it's been a while since I've done anything on camera, acting wise, because I've been focused on the work of the foundation and helping people. And this is given life great purpose to be able to kind of take the success that I've had in the movie and television business and kind of turn it towards service and helping a lot of people. And it's a good feeling to go out there and see those smiling faces and when we show up and play concerts, or if I go to the hospitals or whatever it is that we're doing, serving food on military bases or fire departments, whatever it is. It's a good feeling to see people kind of light up when you show up. It doesn't take much to show up, but it makes a big difference.
I know you founded a group called Friends of Abe. I assume that's Abe Lincoln, not Abe Vigoda. And so I was wondering, and this was for ostensible conservative actors in Hollywood. I wonder if you have been able to enlist some of your Hollywood friends into this service mission as well.
Well, I have I have a good number of friends in the business, and people have helped me along the way. Joe Mantegna, a fellow Chicago.
Yeah, sure, Cicero. Yeah.
Joe and I are the co-hosts of the National Memorial Day concert every year in D.C., and Joe's an ambassador for my foundation, so he will help out and pitch in and do things to help the mission for sure. And there's others that have kind of joined in along the way, participated in different events that I'm doing, or come on a visit to the hospitals with me or something. Michael T. Williamson, who played Bubba in Forrest Gump, I took him to Afghanistan with me years ago. He's done some good work to help us. So, I'll reach out to people from time to time, and they'll pitch in and help out for sure.
I know you addressed this question a couple years back in an interview I read, but I mean, as you're focused more on your service mission right now than continuing to take on roles, as you said, acting roles, how do you look back on your career and not just your body of work as an artist, but also the politics of it and the politics of Hollywood and how that was impactful on things you did or wanted to do?
Oh, I've had a great career in Hollywood. None of that's affected me, really. CSI New York was on for 9 seasons, and then I did another series after that called Criminal Minds Beyond Borders, and certainly the movies that I've done and made for television films and everything, all those were great. I've had a great career that's allowed me to do a lot of wonderful things. And this, certainly CSI New York came at the right time. I started working on CSI New York in 2004, and I was really ramping up quite a bit the service mission. I was going to the war zones, and this was during a difficult time in Iraq. Things were very, very tough in 05, 06, 07, around in there, and I was visiting the troops and doing what I could, and then shooting the television series and having a public platform on television every week was a real benefit. So I've had a good career. I'm not saying it's over. I'm just saying right now I'm focused on something else, and playing these concerts is a big part of it.
And Rockin' for the Vets charity concert, July 12th at Cantini Park. We know you're born in Blue Island, but went to Highland Park High School. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is it always good to come home?
Oh, I also went to Glenbard West for when I was a freshman. Yeah, I remember when I started doing the Cantini show. It was probably 06, and I probably went back there maybe 9-10 years in a row every summer, and it felt very good. I loved that area and loved being there. And I remember, the terrible shooting on the 4th of July in Highland Park. The following year after that, for the first anniversary of that, I offered up a concert and went to Highland Park on the 4th of July, and we tried to help them through that difficult anniversary and gave everybody a good time with the show. So that's the benefit of having a foundation where I can support some of the things that I want to do, and I'm blessed to have the American people supporting us, helping us to do good things like that.
Would you consider yourself a political guy in the sense that you consume a lot of political content, or is it mainly just sort of related to what you're interested in from a service perspective, supporting military families?
Yes, I certainly have my opinions and all that, but my focus is on service and the healing power of service work. I remember what it was like after September 11th and just how heartbroken everybody was. And I certainly was heartbroken after that. And I just felt kind of a call to action to go out there and start doing things to help and trying to help people. And that made me, feel better. And I would always recommend that. So that, look, like I said, I'm not saying it's over, but I've had a great long career in theater and television and movies and all of that. And the benefits of that financially have been a real blessing because I've been able to take that and start up an organization, stand it up, and do a lot of good with it.
Do you, just on the acting side of it, you've played a lot of historical characters too. I mean, you played Harry Truman, you played George Wallace. Do you like that sort of work too? That the playing characters sort of ripped from the pages of American history.
Yeah, those two that you mentioned were great challenges on the acting front. I had to. When you play a historical figure like that, who, for both those, there's documentary footage, there's all this stuff you can look to. It's not like playing George Washington or something like that. We have no documentary footage of Washington, but you do have that with Truman and Wallace. And so the job as an actor is to not do an impersonation as much as create a believable impression of a historical figure so that the audience is suspended and they go along for the ride. And both of those were very, very well written. Truman was based on the David McCullough book, which was
very good.
Great book. And Wallace was probably one of the most challenging things I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah. Do you also? I don't know. I'm sort of a cinephile. I don't have any talent, but I am a cinephile, so I just like this stuff. Do you like playing like those supporting actor roles? Like the reporter you played in Green Mile. I thought like some of those roles sort of like you think about like a great actor like Burt Lancaster and all the great leading roles he played, but then Moonlight Graham in Field of Dreams is like such an iconic role, and it was a supporting role. I think of like that role in Green Mile for you. Do you like that, being part of an ensemble cast in that way as well?
Yeah, I didn't really work with anybody except for Tom on that, so it was not like I was part of the team. I came in for a couple of days on the Green Mile and played the lawyer and sat there with Tom on the porch and had a great scene.
Yeah, lawyer. Right.
Yeah, that was a good one to do. Just it was very well written, good scene, and of course I'd done Forrest Gump and Apollo 13 with Tom, so we got along very well, and that was a good one to do. But yeah, occasionally I'll do something like that where it's the whole thing isn't riding on my performance. I'm just trying to contribute.
All right. Saturday, July 12th at Cantini, the DuPage Complex County Fairgrounds is where you've got parking. Doors open at 2 p.m.
Yeah, that's a party.
Yeah, it's going to be all night. Yeah, 24/7. 2 p.m. And then the opening band, Stolen Silver, that starts at 6. Gary Sinise and Lieutenant Dan Band at 7. $50 to enter and spend the day and have fun and listen to some great music. You can buy tickets at WSFDV, that stands for West Suburban Foundation for Disabled Veterans. WSFDV, West Suburban Foundation for Disabled Veterans. You can Google too. Get tickets there. And it's all in support of Gary Sinise's work, in support of military families. Gary, thanks so much for joining us, and looking forward to having you out at Cantini.
Thanks so much. I'm looking forward to it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. And he joined us on our turnkey .pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
They took everything. Our equipment, our supplies, it's all gone.
It's devastating. Every order is going to be delayed for months, and our customers are going to find someone else.
I don't know if we'll ever recover from this. We're already getting calls from clients checking on their orders.
Who knows how long it will take to get back on our feet? What were we thinking not upgrading our security?
Don't let a break-in devastate your business. Protect yourself with Goldilocks. They'll create a customized security solution for you. From commercial doors with keyless entry to 24/7 alarm monitoring, they have you covered. Learn more at GoldilocksInc.com and have a security technician conduct an on-site assessment of your business. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call Goldilocks now. 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicagoland's premier locksmith door and security systems company since 1981.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captid Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Can you afford not to have effective video surveillance? Is your outdoor inventory at risk? Theft and vandalism can hit your bottom line hard. Stop these events before they happen. Monitor your business 24/7 with alarm detection systems. We prevent crime with live operators watching video alerts, ensuring your assets and employees are secure. It's not worth the liability when you can effectively protect what matters most. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143. Spending too much on security guards to patrol your property? With rising crime rates, guards may not be enough. And the cost, it's adding up fast. At Alarm Detection Systems, we offer a more innovative solution. Live video monitoring. Cameras provide extra coverage in even the hardest to reach areas. Unlike guards, they never get intimidated. Our operators watch video alerts in real time, cut costs, increase coverage, and stay secure. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll do the full Warren Zevon, Lawyers, Guns, and Money with John Lott at 8:38.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here is Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 74 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The Ayatollah of Iran is declaring the battle begins against Israel.
Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei posted the statement in Persian on Tuesday in response to Israeli attacks on Tehran. Iran reportedly fired over a dozen missiles toward Israel this morning after Israeli forces attacked weapon production facilities in Tehran. Israeli authorities say there are no reports of injuries following Iran's attack in central Israel. Iranian officials say Israeli strikes on Tehran have killed hundreds in less than a week. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Cheerios is discontinuing 3 of its new flavors.
The popular breakfast cereal introduced several new flavors this year, but now Cheerios maker General Mills says it will stop making 3 of them. The 3 flavors are chocolate peanut butter Cheerios, Honey Nut Cheerios Minis, and Honey Nut Cheerios Medley Oat Crunch. Cheerios fans are being urged to grab up the remaining stock of those flavors while they're still on the shelves. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Amazon Prime Day will last 4 days this year. The online retail giant announced its popular annual sale for members will be held July 8th through the 11th. Prime Day started as a one-day event 10 years ago before eventually expanding to 2 days. New this year are today's big deals, which will see themed daily deal drops featuring deep discounts on brands like Samsung and Levi's. They will launch at midnight Pacific time. News is a service of Low T Center. Guys, in celebration of Father's Day, Center Gen X and Low T Center are offering free T-tests and weight loss consultations for a limited time only. Book your free consultation and T-test now until June 21st and get yourself a free B12 shot. For an extra boost of energy, give dad or yourself the gift of a new start this Father's Day. Book now at fixmylowt.com, fixmylowt.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Mike Gallagher is witnessing evil.
A guy from Egypt screaming Free Palestine named Mohammed, lighting Jews on fire in Boulder, Colorado, and CNN is upset at calling what appears to be an obvious terror attack a terror attack. My gosh, this is what we're up against. We're up against a brand of evil that we've never seen before.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Charlie Kirk at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson. You know, there's an old saying out there: small hinges swing big doors. In other words, doing little things right can have a big result. Tom Fortino and the team of Alpha Wealth Group have been helping people retire since 2010 and have found that while many have an investment plan, very few have a tax plan. And that can be the element that makes a huge difference when it comes to money you'll have to spend in your retirement. What if you had a plan that protected you against future tax increases by the government? What if it kept your Social Security taxes from going up, all while keeping your Medicare premiums down? It is possible, and that's just the beginning. What kind of hinges are on your retirement door? You either have a tax plan or you don't. Call Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-864-6711. That's 630-864-6711. Or download his complimentary Alpha Wealth reports by visiting alphawealthgroup.com.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens, inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 16 minutes. Outbound, 21 minutes. On the Kennedy, inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 47 minutes. Outbound, about 29 minutes. On the Eisenhower, inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 40 minutes. Outbound, 28 minutes. On the Stevenson, inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 38 minutes. Outbound, 23 minutes. This report is sponsored by Payday. Hardworking people need a hardworking candy bar packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel. Payday is definitely working hard for you. So grab one now to power you through the day. Payday Peanut Caramel Bar. Get to it. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Clouds a bit cooler, still humid though. Heavy thunderstorm this afternoon. That could kick off an isolated tornado, high 77. Breezy this evening, otherwise partly cloudy. Shower and thunderstorm tonight, low 64. Partly sunny tomorrow, the high 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We discussed this a bit earlier, but I want our next guest to hear it, so he is assured that I am not misrepresenting the words of noted criminologist and View co-host Sunny Hostin. They had Arnold Schwarzenegger on to talk, among other things, about immigration. And here's what Schwarzenegger, an immigrant himself, you may know, had to say about how people coming to this country should behave.
Of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal. And those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest. And you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better place.
By the way, just a point of order, Arnold may not be familiar, but not making your bed is not a crime.
Well, he just means, tidy up. I know.
I think I know what he means. Yeah.
Got to keep it clean. And I agree with them. Like, don't come here and expect handouts, which, I guess people got the word that we're handing them everything they need, clothes, phone, healthcare. But also respect our laws. And be proud that you're an American, that you're in America, that we allowed you in.
Don't come here expecting you're going to be able to do a terrible rom-com with Danny DeVito. Don't expect that. It may happen.
It may.
You're not entitled to it.
Don't expect to be governor of California.
And so after that, come here and behave like a guest, he had to get some view-splaining from Whoopi and Sunny.
Arnold, don't forget, there's 90% of the people who come here are trying to do the right thing.
They're less likely to commit crimes.
And a lot of what's happening right now is people are getting snatched who shouldn't be snatched out of the country, people who have visas, people who have all those things. So we want all the right people. We don't want people who are doing bad stuff.
But they are less likely, immigrants are much less likely to commit crimes in this country than actually American-born citizens. And the other thing I just wanted to say is that Governor Newsom did not ask for the National Guard to come to, the federal government to come to California. There are 9,000 local law enforcement officers in California. Did he really?
Okay, so there it is. That's what I wanted John Lott to hear, the reviews of
their line of argument.
Statisticians and criminologists on The View. John Lott is the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. He's former senior advisor for research and stats at the Justice Department's Office of Legal Policy. author of books including Gun Control Myths and More Guns, Less Crime. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks. I guess there's really nothing left for me to say after they've explained the situation there.
Well, I mean, you maybe just if you want to prove their work or dispute it, as a colleague. Are Sonny and Whoopi right?
Well, I mean, it'd be nice if they were, but look, when she talks about immigrant crime, the problem is that those numbers mix together crimes by both legal and illegal immigrants. Legal immigrants do tend to commit crime at very low rates, but illegals tend to commit crime at fairly high rates. And even they mentioned the 10% number. If right before the election last year, the Biden administration came out and they said that of the 7.4 million so-called non-detained individuals, about 662,000 or almost 10% had criminal records. But there are many problems with that. One is not all their home countries would provide information on that, countries like Venezuela, for example. So you have a lot of missing information there about criminal backgrounds. The other thing is that almost all of those individuals were individuals who voluntarily turned themselves in at the border. Those aren't the ones that you should be most concerned about, even though obviously it's something well over 10% of those had criminal records in their home countries. What you need to worry about are so-called gotaways. There were like over 2 million of those during the Biden administration, people that we saw coming across the border and didn't catch. And then we have millions more that we didn't even see coming across the border because 76% of the Border Patrol agents who would normally be guarding the border were pulled off of that duty and instead were having to process the illegals who had voluntarily turned themselves in at the border. And also about a third of the passive monitoring equipment along the border was broken and wasn't being fixed by the Biden administration. It's the people who were willing to turn, not accept the $250,000 or $2,500 free prepaid credit cards or the food and the housing and the medical care that you all were just mentioning a minute ago, or the trips, flights to places in the country that they wound up going to. The ones who would pay the extra money to avoid having to go and deal with the processing there who are the most concerned. So even the 10% is a big underestimate of the crime number.
And it seems to me that even if you take that 10%, 10% of, let's say, 2 million gotaways, let's say it's 10%. Well, 10% of 2 million gotaways is 200,000 people. We were talking about this earlier in the program and yesterday. Tom Homan estimates that of the 60,000 migrants in this country illegally in Chicago, 2,000 are known criminals. Well, that's only 3%, but is 2,000 known criminals for nationals roaming around Chicago? Is that a big problem? Sure, it's a big problem. I mean, so whatever the percentages are, or whatever they want to suggest they are, once you look at it in the context of the raw numbers we're talking about, you realize just how much a public safety threat is posed by that.
Right. And as we say, taking the numbers, even though those are already an underestimate for those who voluntarily turn themselves in, is going to be way lower than the ones who, the gotaways are the ones that we never saw coming across the border. So, you're talking about real problems that are there. And there's no reason why any of these criminals should be let into the country, whether they come through voluntarily or not.
But how did we know 15,000 were charged with murder, not accused of it? Have been another 15,000 or 22,000 were sexual predators. How in the HE double hockey sticks did we allow that to happen? I mean, if they went through the border, they were processed, and they knew this guy is a sexual predator. Is he one of the gotaways, or how did they know that information? That's so mind-boggling.
Right. Yeah. So there were 13,000, almost 14,000 who had been convicted of murder, another almost 2,000 who had been charged with murder in their home country but had gotten into the United States. So what happened was under Trump, when we had the Remain in Mexico policy, the Customs Service would go and do the criminal background checks on the individuals and would contact their home countries. Under the Biden administration, where they ended that, they ended up having ICE go and do the checks. But the thing is, ICE did not have the authority, nor did they ask for it, to go and contact the home countries for these individuals. The information that we have on their criminal backgrounds on their home countries was only collected after they had been already released into the country.
Something else that you wrote about recently is the decline in the murder rate at the national level, and we're seeing it in big cities correspondingly. Of course, big city mayors like Brandon Johnson here in Chicago are saying it's because they know what to do and they're doing it, and it's proving up in terms of results, things like violence interrupters and I don't know what else he says he's doing, but it's local policies here in Chicago and other big cities that are making the difference. The murder rate's definitely going down, as you wrote in the Federalist. We're tracking for the lowest murder rate on record nationally. To what do we attribute this?
Well, I think we attribute it to multiple things. I mean, just as a contrast, during the Biden administration, when we had this record influx of illegals coming into the country, we saw during at least the first 3 years of the Biden administration that we have complete data for, the largest percentage increase in overall violent crime over any 3-year period that we've ever seen since they started collecting the data. It's more than twice as large as the largest previous increase in violent crime. Is a 55% increase over that time. Now we're seeing this large drop that's occurring in murders anyway during the first 5 months of the year. And, you know, the question is why? And there are multiple reasons. I think things like the federal government moving FBI agents to places where there's actually crimes occurring. They had almost a third of the agents had been stationed in the D.C. area, even though obviously not a third of the nation's crime was located there. You've had the federal government get out of trying to force DEI policies, hiring and promotion things on police and fire departments across the country. You've had changes in moving away from Soros prosecutors in many areas like Los Angeles and San Francisco. So those all matter. But the other thing that I think matters is the deportations, and it matters in two ways. One is, obviously, we've deported and focused on deporting criminals who have been committing crimes. But the other thing is there's a lot of evidence that when you're doing that, one way to make sure you're not going to be deported, or at least lower the odds, is not to be committing crimes right now. You may have been committing crimes last year, but you're less likely to be on the police radar if you're not committing a crime right now. And if you get arrested, there's a good chance these days that ICE will be there to go and make sure you're deported out of the country. And we see this in many areas, not just in terms of crime data, that illegals are lying low. You see it in terms of things like the employment data. During the Biden administration, 5.4 million, or most of the jobs that were created, were for non-native born Americans. We don't know how many of those were illegals, but presumably a significant number of them were. Just during the first 4 months of the Trump administration, rather than this 5.4 million increase, we've actually seen well over a 700,000 drop in the number of jobs for non-native born Americans. And you know, given that the IRS has been working now with the Trump administration to go and identify illegals who are working in the United States, you know, if you drop out of the labor force, you lower your chances of being deported. So, I think, and there's other evidence too that these guys, the fact that they can be deported is causing them to change their behavior, not just in terms of crime.
Not to mention 1 million reportedly have self-deported. Well,
there's a problem with that, and
okay, that's the report.
700,000 of that is this drop in jobs. They're just assuming that all of those are illegals, and they're assuming all of those, if they stop working, are self-deporting, and neither of those are true.
So that's an overstatement. Yeah, that number. Okay. I wanted to ask you.
They use the app to get out.
Wanted to ask you the gun question, or the question about the AR-15 gun case. So the Seventh Circuit is taking up the challenge to Illinois' law banning AR-15 sport rifles, and the Department of Justice filed an amicus brief on behalf of the party that is moving to have the ban on AR-15s in Illinois declared unconstitutional. What do you expect to see in that case? And given Supreme Court precedent of recent vintage, I mean, this Illinois law is going to be deemed unconstitutional. If the Seventh Circuit doesn't do it, the Supreme Court will, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's right. The Justice Department brief heavily cites the district court judge who wrote an excellent opinion striking down the law there. The thing is, you have a panel on the Seventh Circuit, including Frank Easterbrook, who I knew well when I was at the University of Chicago, who are going to hear this case again. Now, there's one difference. Frank will definitely rule that the law is constitutional, given his past record. The other judge who's still on the panel will rule that it is unconstitutional again. Before Diane Woods, who had ruled that it was constitutional, she has retired. And so the outcome on the Seventh Circuit is going to depend upon who replaces her. Okay. But I agree with you that, look, I mean, it's pretty clear that this is a gun in common use, that the types of gymnastics that they went through to begin with on the case when it went to the appeals court, circuit court, it will not be upheld by the Supreme Court.
John Lott, president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, former senior advisor for research and stats at the Department of Justice's Office of Legal Policy, and author of books including Gun Control Myths and More Guns, Less Crime. John, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. Those of us who have supported Donald Trump since 2015 need no lecture that Trump is abandoning his America First base when he stands by our nation's greatest ally. It's not we, Trump, or America who have loyalty problems. We never called Donald Trump demonic or said we hated him passionately. Neither Israel nor America is starting a war with Iran. Iran has been at war with both for 46 years. Today's Iran announced itself to the world by taking 52 Americans hostage for 444 days, then slaughtering 17 Americans in Beirut, and another 241 Americans there 6 months later. Then there was the capture, torture, and killing of William Buckley, the hijacking of Flight 847 and public execution of Bobby Stetham, the 19 Americans killed in Khobar, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and more. Truth in advertising has no greater model than the chant, "Death to America." Now, contemplate that country with nuclear weapons. Ignoring that and abandoning an ally equally targeted by Iran is the opposite of America First. It could mean America dead.
I wanted to make sure we got that website in for the Rockin' for the Vets, the Gary Sinise
Yes, it's going to be July 12th on Saturday.
Saturday, July 12th, Cantini. West Suburban Foundation for Disabled Veterans. The website to buy tickets, they're only $50, all day affair. WSFDV, the acronym for West Suburban Foundation for Disabled Veterans. WSFDV.org. WSFDV, West Suburban Foundation for Disabled Veterans.org is where you go to get those Rockin' for the Vets tickets. All right, guys, spring is here. Time for gatherings with friends, family, and outdoor activities. But how are you going to keep up if low testosterone is draining your energy? The answer, TRT with Synergen X and Low T Center. They might seem convenient, but many online TRT services can be a hassle to get started. You end up spending hundreds of dollars and wasting time, so don't fall for it. Trust the experts at Synergen X and Low T Center, so I trust. They've been changing patients' lives for a combined 25 years. They understand what guys need. They're in person, and they make it easy to get started. You can start today with a free consultation and free testosterone test. The best thing about it, 1, it's free, and 2, they're fast. They have on-site labs to process your test quickly, and if you qualify, you can start treatment that day. They have locations across Chicagoland, and for guys looking to lose a few pounds, Synergen X and Low T Center make it easy with prescription weight loss medications. They do accept most major health insurance, so you have no excuse. The offer is limited, so go right now to fixmylowt.com to book your appointment. That's fixmylowt.com. You'll be glad you did.
Does your garage floor look bad, cracked, or stained from Chicago's brutal winters? Contact my good friends at Level 10 Coatings. Level 10 brought my garage floor from dirty, gross, to showroom shiny new in just one day. Level 10 Coatings can do the same for you. A quick and easy fix, gleaming permanent solution. Guaranteed to never crack or chip. Mention me, Amy, for $500 off. Get it done now so you can enjoy your garage all summer long. Level 10 uses polyurea, which is superior to epoxy. One day and they're gone. They'll even help move your stuff out of your garage. Schedule your free quote today and mention Amy to receive $500 off. Just visit level10coatings.com. Level10coatings.com or call 855-510-2628. Again, that's 855-510-2628. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
Big or small, we coat them all. Level 10 Coatings, your custom concrete coating solution.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, get your rain gear on, where we tee off in about 4 hours.
Well, it's nice now. In about 4 hours, it's going to be storming. But that's all right. I mean, we can stay on the course until when? I know lightning's a big no-no. What about tornadoes and hail?
I only see like
those big no-nos?
I see less than, then it's 50, 60, 70% chance. Yeah, it's a pretty good chance. Well, all right, so I'll stand by the bar.
Can I? There you go. Stand by the bar. You look great. Thanks so much for joining us. And we will see you later today at our golf outing. You signed up for it. Thanks also to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. As you need another reminder, cloudy, cooler, no sunshine today. If the morning showers and that heavy rain and thunderstorms in the afternoon, a high of 77 degrees. Tomorrow, partly sunny, less humid, warm, a high of 85 degrees. And for your weekend, it's going to be hot and humid around